Hey guys, welcome to the stream. How's it going? How's your weekend? Did you excuse me, did you know that the word we followed by the word followed by the word boo is against Twitch's terms of service? I I I'm doing an anime stream tonight. I'm doing a manga stream tonight specifically. And I put that word in my stream description and Twitch was like, just so you know, this word is against our terms of service. To like is does he know Ziggy emote? Does Ziggy know? Ziggy doesn't know many things. Uh Ziggy knows very little. Um in especially in terms of modern day slang and what Twitch doesn't consider a slur potentially. you know, um found that very interesting. So I'm doing an anime manga boy stream today. Um yeah, just gonna be full of like tier lists and predictions basically. Um it's my Shonen Jump manga 2023 review and 2024 prediction stream. Um that's what you think. He's barking up all kinds of slurs when you're not looking. I've I've we have a theory that our dog is transphobic. That's a joke. He likes all people, but when my trans fiance uh doesn't get cuddled by him enough, the theory is that he's transphobic. Um anyway, um ban Ziggy. I can't. He's my transphobic son. He's my problematic fave son slash little brother. I got him from my mom. All right. So manga stream. Um, Shonen Jump is a manga magazine that I follow a lot of different manga in. Um, it's the biggest manga magazine. You've probably seen several series from Shonen Jump, maybe without realizing it. It's the magazine that originated One Piece, My Hero Academia, Dragon Ball, Naruto, right? A lot of the big ones came from Shonen Jump, or even like kind of a spin-off of Shonen Jump, right? Like there's an online kind of spin-off service called Jump Plus, um, that that Spy Family came from, and that kind of thing. You finished Dr. Stone and My Hero Academia Vigilantes this year. Congratulations. Dr. Stone's good. I like Dr. Stone. Um I I haven't read Vigilantes, and I guess we'll get into a little bit of why during my review stream. Um and you're on volume 23 of Black Clover. Okay. You you hope they change the ending of Dr. Stone in the show? Well, I don't know if you know this, but a sequel miniseries of Doctor Stone just started a week or two ago, um, or within the last month. Um, there's going to be a 3 chapter miniseries that takes place after the events of the Doctor Stone finale, um, and and the first chapter is out already, and I dig it actually. Like I yeah, if you don't like the part of Doctor Stone's ending that I think you don't like, I think it's just kind of hard to have made the conclusion of Doctor Stone's mystery like satisfying after all that build up. So I don't hate the ending. A postscript. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. So yeah, Doctor Stone postscript. But anyway, yeah, what I'm doing today is I'm going to review all the manga. I'm going to do a tier list of all the manga that was running in Shonen Jump in 2023, right? So this will also be kind of a review of Shonen Jump in 2023. If you don't know what Shonen Jump's been up to, I'll tell you. I'll tell you what Shonen Jump's been up to, and what manga is currently in there, and what concluded and what got canceled, and what to look out for. What stuff that I think will get an anime, stuff that I know will get an anime. Um, yeah, even if you're just an anime only person, this I love reading these manga magazines. I love checking out Shonen Jump because it's a cool peek into what could be a big anime in a couple of years, right? Did you read this? Did I read the side series of Doctor Stone? The Byakuya series, the series about Senku's dad. Yes, I did read that. It's really weird uh that there's several major plot developments in that side series that never get addressed in the main series ever. It's really weird. I didn't hate it though. I didn't hate it, but anyway, after I do the tier list, I'll start making predictions about what I think Shonen Jump's going to do in 2024. What what authors I think will return, what kind of series I think will be focused on this year, that kind of thing. Okay. All right. So is this readable? Is this big enough? Can you read the text in the window to the left? Yeah, the Doctor Stone stuff just disappeared. You're really expecting it to have an impact. Yeah, that's fair. Honestly, I forgot about the stuff that was in that spin-off series up until you can read it. Okay, cool. What if I just make it like a little bigger like that? You won't really get to see previews of the icons very well, but uh, I meant to say "c'est la vie," but what the words that almost came out of my mouth were "potato, potato, potato, potato." Um, but yeah, I forgot about those Doctor Stone developments, those side series developments, and then like weeks after I read the finale, I was like, wait a minute, this thing was never in it. This thing was never in it. Okay, so okay, cool. You can see the cursor. So uh we've got several different tiers on the tier list. We've got the top tier, basically my favorite manga that ran in the magazine this year. I could put 3 series maximum in top tier. There's the good shit, right? Just the manga that I think is excellent, a manga that I consider either almost top tier or close to top tier. Um, a lot of this will probably consist of manga that I would put in top tier if I weren't restricting myself by putting a maximum of 3 in top tier. There's janky but enjoyable stuff. I think is good. Probably has some flaws, but I do like overall and would probably recommend. There's It's All Right. It's all right. Like this is the stuff that like I'm reading. I don't hate that I'm reading it, but it's like it's average. It's probably like janky but enjoyable. I'd probably recommend. It's all right. I don't hate that I'm reading it, but I probably wouldn't recommend. Verge of Dropping. This is manga that I'm currently keeping up with, but that I wish that I weren't. No hate reads. Verge of Dropping, you can consider hate reads. Verge of Dropping is like, Verge Dropping isn't quite hate reads, but it is like, why am I still reading this? And I'm still reading it because I've made it a habit to read it. But I'm not really enjoying myself. Um, like, I'm not having a good time with it. And I would probably tell you that it's bad. And then not reading, parentheses, it's trash. This is stuff that I have dropped or that I only read one chapter of that ran in the magazine in 2023, right? Stuff that I've dropped because it's trash. Usually this means that it has like uh usually this means that it has some really awful anime tropes in it, or it's like really uh just like fan servicey with no other substance, or just yeah, just garbage. And then the kind of the grayed out, not reading, parentheses, haven't caught up. Just stuff that I didn't read in 2023, not necessarily because I think it's trash or anything, but uh just because I didn't get around to reading it in 2023. I think there's only going to be one series in that category, but there the category is. Um you know what, actually, to give me a little more space, um we'll just delete this row. Yeah, there we go. Um the series that I'm not reading because I haven't caught up is My Hero Academia. I I've been anime only with My Hero Academia. I've wanted to be anime only until I caught up, and then Devin and I got burned out on the anime, and we haven't caught up yet. So we haven't read MHA yet. But I've read at least one chapter of pretty much everything else in the magazine. So I've got everything down here in chronological order. Chronological order of when it debuted. Um and I'm gonna change the color of this one, make it a bit more readable. Oh, that's still kind of, yeah, that's better. Okay. Um and I'll basically be rating them based on their performance in 2023, of how much I enjoyed or didn't enjoy reading the series in 2023, right? Like One Piece over here overall, probably top tier. Um, but that doesn't mean that I would put it in top tier for 2023, right? Maybe it's been dragging, maybe X, maybe Y. I guess let's start with One Piece, and I've got this behind me here, um as kind of a visual aid because I know these icons are small. Ah, one day I'll invest in an ad blocker when I do streams. Um, there we go. Okay. So yeah, we'll start with One Piece. We'll start with One Piece. Why not? Well, instead of the why not, I'll tell you the why, because it's the oldest series in the book. It's been running since 1997. So One Piece, I know what I just said, um, but we'll tentatively just put it in top tier because One Piece has had a really good year. One Piece has had a really good year. Um, tell you the why not. I know. Why not? Because it'd be fun to build suspense for what I think of One Piece, but I'm not doing that. Yeah, One Piece has been really cool this year. The Wano arc finally ended. It ended in a pretty satisfying way. I think this is the year that we saw Luffy's big power up. Um, and the new arc has some really cool stuff going on. The stuff happening right now in One Piece, um, it's flashing back to some really important characters and kind of giving us their origin story and their backstory, and it's all like it's all really interesting and cool and sad and devastating and neat. So how close to the end is One Piece? Not very. Both pretty close and also not very close. Relative to the rest of One Piece's run, we're in the end game, right? Oda has called this the last arc. Um, People in the live action show were born after it started. Oh, I'm old. I'm an old man. Um, that did not occur to me. Holy shit. Uh, and they have kids. Yeah, that's yeah. Yep, One Piece has been running for a long ass time. Um, but yeah, this I One Piece One Piece's performance in 2023 might get knocked off of top tier, right? But I'm tentatively putting there because this has been a really good year for One Piece. Um, yeah. Um, yeah, a lot of great developments. Really, really cool year. After a couple years of One Piece that have kind of dragged for me, this year kind of recovered and stayed really, really engaging. For the most part, every now and then there's a chapter that drags, but this story's been going on for 30 years. It'll drag sometimes. You can't really fault it too much for that. Um, yeah, yeah. One Piece is a very good piece of Shonen Jump thing. Hunter x Hunter. Um, Hunter x Hunter is one of my favorite manga series ever. However, its 2023 performance, and yes, it did have a 2023 performance. Um, I should clarify real quick. Uh, when I'm talking about Shonen Jump's 2023, I'm talking about uh, Shonen Jump's publication year. Shonen Jump's 2023 ended at the end of November. It ended this last week. Um, um, and their 2024 starts in December, right? So in December, like in November and December of 2022, um, Hunter x Hunter came back for the first time in like 5 or 6 years. Um, uh, Togashi was managing to feel well enough to put out another 10 chapters that got published in the book. Um, so the way I would rate those 10 chapters is it's all right. It's all right. Um, One thing I really liked being able to do, um, one thing I really enjoyed doing with Hunter x Hunter this past year, is when the series got put back in Shonen Jump, um, the Shonen Jump app, which you can subscribe to for like $3 a month, um, put all of Hunter x Hunter up on the app. So I read all of Hunter x Hunter at the end of last year. And that was an amazing time. There's so much that I love about Hunter x Hunter. That that was great to revisit. However, the latest arc of Hunter x Hunter is a drag fest, man. It's a slog. It's a slog, and the latest 10 chapters was just like 10 more chapters of that slog fest. Like no combat happens. It's just like uh it's just like uh it's just like everyone's on a boat and there's this contest happening with a really convoluted rule set, and half of the arc is just essentially the characters reading the rule book to the audience. Uh so it's One Piece. One Piece isn't as convoluted. Yes, it is on a boat. Slogger is very funny. Will the manga be changing people in the book to match the show like Marvel does? Oh, One Piece? We don't know yet. Um we don't know yet, but one thing that is interesting is uh one thing that is interesting is so the live action show did make some changes, right? It made some changes uh to the lore and to the way that the first arc of One Piece played out. One of the big changes is that it made a couple of minor characters that weren't really in the first arc that much. It made those characters more important. Characters like Kobe and Helmeppo. Um, Kobe's this little dorky kid that wants to be a Marine. Helmeppo is like this spoiled brat that is the son of a Marine. And they're both in One Piece, but they're not very important. They're not in much of One Piece, but they're in the live action series a lot. So one thing that was really interesting is right before the live action series like came out, Kobe and Helmeppo started showing up more in the manga. So that's something that's interesting, but nothing's changed about them. There's no big retcons about Kobe and Helmeppo. Um, it's just almost like Oda remembered that they existed and decided to make them a little more important. Um, but yeah, like Hunter x Hunter in 2023 was all right. We got 10 chapters, and really in 2023, in December of last year, we got like 4 of those chapters, right? So Hunter x Hunter was like barely there, and then it disappeared again. Word is that Togashi's back to work on the series, but we don't know when we're gonna get more. So yeah, Hunter x Hunter's performance is it's all right, and honestly, that's okay. Um, the creator of Hunter x Hunter is like constantly ill. Like he's not in great health. He really shouldn't be drawing all the time. And I think it's totally okay that he rests as much as he needs to. You know, uh, yeah. If if in 10 years he's put out like 5 more chapters, that's fine. There's got to be things that I care about more than whether or not my favorite manga series is updating. Like I do miss getting a lot of it at a time, but you know, a man's health is more important. I guess. All right. The next oldest series is My Hero Academia. Um, so yeah, what we'll do is we'll just put that at the end. I haven't read My Hero Academia. I've only watched it, so that's disqualified basically, I guess. Next up is Black Clover. Um, Black Clover is uh is one of those instances where I don't like the anime. The anime is annoying to me, but the manga, honestly, the manga's the good shit. So so Black Clover got relocated. It's not in Shonen Jump magazine anymore. It got moved to Jump Giga, where it's going to update more sporadically. Um, like yeah, it's going to be getting less frequent updates, but the chapters will be longer, and the author will get more time to rest between chapters. This is another instance of, oh hey, cool, they're looking out for the author's health. I'm fine with that. Um, You already know this. I already know this, of course, but you feel like the longer the tier list progresses, the more it will crystallize that my taste in manga is very different to yours when you read manga. Yeah, probably. I think there's some overlap. I think there's some stuff that I really like on here that you would really like if you gave it a shot. Um, and I'll elaborate on those, Sean, when I get to those points. You're only liking the Black Clover manga more because you have the dub voices in your head now. You're confused by the art in the Lucifero fight. Yeah, that's one thing. Like the artist is struggling to get pages out consistently, and I think yeah, I think drawing can, yeah, I think drawing clearly and consistently is a struggle because he's been doing this for so long now. Yuki Tabata, but yeah, you couldn't tell what was happening. I feel like that was a bit hard for me to parse too at the time. But I got through it. Um, yeah, so much black on black. That's not a bad point. But yeah, Black Clover is the good shit. I think it's just a really well told like generic shonen story, you know? It just really nails like it's perfect popcorn shonen. Um it has a lot of characters that you really like to get invested in, and I really like the character designs. Honestly, like uh it would it could even be gunning for top tier if it weren't for the way that Yuki Tabata draws 15-year-old girls. Like that's the one drawback to the series. It's so close to being like one of my absolute favorites. Just like just like sheer like brainless shonen fun it is. But and it's weird, like the author is so like wholesome and like he loves his wife and his colleagues and his daughter so much. But like every 5 chapters he's gonna draw something real uncomfortably horny. And then that's kind of the Black Clover kind of nerfs itself as a result. um yeah, I do otherwise like it a whole lot though. It's a fun series. um what's up next? Jujutsu Kaisen. Jujutsu Kaisen is also, well, in 2023. In 2023, the manga in 2023, this might be kind of a hot take on my end actually, but it's been janky but enjoyable, right? Like this latest arc, speaking of things that are hard to follow, this latest arc has been nigh incomprehensible. Like uh did I watch the Black Clover movie? I didn't watch the Black Clover movie. I've heard good things though. I've heard good things. Um yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen, the latest arc is like what I said about Hunter x Hunter about uh like just it's an arc with a really weird rule set, and it's just a bunch of people reading the rule book. Um uh this Jujutsu Kaisen is like the current arc is uh there's a contest happening, there's a really convoluted rule set, and the characters skim the rule book in front of you, then throw it away and never bring it up again, and proceed and and proceed to do the most confusing shit you've seen in your life. That said, like the characters are still really compelling. Um, like there's still some really interesting slash awesome slash badass slash very sad developments. Um, and it saved itself this last month by having one of the coolest sequences I've seen in all of Jujutsu Kaisen. Like it really redeemed itself uh this past month. And made me love the series again. Um but overall I'd say this was kind of a janky year for Jujutsu Kaisen. Jujutsu Kaisen also seems like it's going to be wrapping up. Oh yeah, I feel like I only half answered the is One Piece going to end question. Yeah, they're in the end game. They're in what they're calling the final arc, but honestly, I think that arc's gonna go for like another 3 to 5 years, right? I think I think yeah, relative to the rest of One Piece, we're at the end, but that's still gonna be another like 200 chapters of One Piece. Okay. Uh Mission Yozakura Family. Honestly, it's either gonna be I do I'm gonna be tiering. I'm gonna be ranking within tiers also. Like basically, the closer to the left it is, the higher the ranking is, right? Um, and Mission Yozakura Family is either at the top of It's Alright or at the bottom of Janky but enjoyable. I'll put it at the bottom of Janky but enjoyable. The thing about Mission Yozakura Family, so I've mostly been kind of not giving too many details on each series, mostly because these are big series. You probably already know what their deals are. Um, but Mission Yozakura Family. Funny thing, by the way, right? Um, uh, Funny thing. I'm going from oldest debut to newest debut, right? Um, One Piece 1997, My Hero Academia 2015, Black Clover 2016, Jujutsu Kaisen 2018, Yozakura Family 2019, and every other debut is going to be 2020 or later, right? Like a lot of these series are like so new actually, which is kind of crazy to think about. Families will have gone through 3 generations by the time One Piece ends. Got it. Just two, right? Just 2 generations. I won't be old enough to have grandkids by the time One Piece is over. You know what? Technically, I could like I by the time One Piece ends, I could be old enough to be a very young grandparent, right? I could be in my early 40s when One Piece ends. Like pretty young for a grandparent, but I still technically could have been if I had like, had a baby like, you know, when I was like 18 to 20 and then my child also had a baby when they were 18 to 20. It could be a real frisky fresh grandpa when One Piece ends. But I see I didn't do those things, so I think I guess I fucked up. Um, hip grandpa, yeah, hip grandpa, a grandpa with a hip that still works. You know what I'm. Anyway, so yeah, by the time Hajime no Ippo ends, it will have been 3 generations. It started in 1989, almost 1,400 chapters. Author says like 50 to 60% done. Jesus, wow, yeah. Forgot about Hajime no Ippo. Damn, I didn't realize it was going that fucking long. Um, but yeah, so I'll start explaining some of these series. Yozakura Family is basically a series about a boy who finds out that his childhood friend is part of an elite family of spies. She's actually the matriarch of that family. Um, and you can kind of see the family members kind of in the background here. Uh, how does that look? not great. If I can I pull up like the image gallery? Would that be like visible in any um let's see, color page. It's it's tough to find. Okay, well, here's something with a whole family on it. Can I Yeah. So so yeah. Finds out she's part of a family full of spies. Her older brother tries to kill him. And he finds out that um members of the Yozakura family are not allowed to kill family members. Um, so he finds out that he basically realizes that a loophole to not getting murdered by his childhood friend's older brother, is to marry his childhood friend, thus becoming his brother-in-law. Um, so it starts with them being like engaged, um, and and then like it's part spy action, part rom com, part like spy gag manga sometimes, um, and you know it's pretty cute and fun sometimes. The characters are all really likable, um, but like there's so many like um gross anime tropes in here, and they don't go away. The older brother specifically has like a sister complex through the whole thing. He's one of those characters, right? And he would be a really cool character if it wasn't for that very specific and very consistent element of his character. Um, and like all these cool character designs. So the brother from Spy Family, exactly the brother from Spy Family. It's the same fucking thing. Uh, except imagine that being in almost every chapter instead of like Spy Family's good and then the brother shows up and then it goes back to being good when he leaves, right? The brother in Yozakura Family almost never leaves. Um, but there's still a lot of stuff to enjoy. Um, uh, but yeah, also like you see all these kind of pretty cool character designs for each of the family members. Um, each of the family member has like some stupid fetish that's like terribly wrong with them, and it's not done in like a this is how they're flawed way. It's just done as like a gag, right? It's just like it's not it's not done in a way where you're supposed to think these things are awful about the character. It's just like it just like it does cool spy stuff, it does cool family stuff, and then like and then something dumb and gross happens like a minimum of every 3 chapters. And you know, like if you're really into manga and anime, you know, chances are you've probably developed kind of a thick skin for that kind of thing. And everyone's tolerance level is different, right? So I tolerate a lot of the dumb stuff this manga does, because there is a lot to enjoy in it otherwise. But it is like it does deter from the quality, right? Um, this year, um, had a time skip, and I'm a sucker for time skips. Um, so like that kind of boosts its ranking, right? Like uh the brother in Spy Family is so good when he's alone. Yeah, the problem is he's almost never alone. And actually, the problem is he had a really good first episode. He had a really good first episode where he was very cool. And now he won't shut up about how hot his sister is even when he's by himself. Um But yeah, Yozakura Family has a very cool time skip arc that I actually have found myself being very invested in. So that's boosted up its ranking. Any other year, it would probably be at the bottom of It's All Right, but it's at instead it's at the bottom of Janky but enjoyable. Congratulations, Yozakura Family. Um, I'm so embarrassed to enjoy you. You're such an embarrassing series uh to enjoy. Actually, I should follow my own rule. I said that um if it's in janky but enjoyable, I would recommend it. If it's in It's All Right, I wouldn't. I would not like I like Yozakura Family, but I wouldn't recommend it. So it's at the top of It's All Right. Your anti-time skips. They're scamming you. They're stealing your time. I love time skips. Time skips are great. A well-executed time skip is fantastic. And not all time skips are well executed, but the well executed ones, mwah, chef's kiss, man. I will kiss a chef just to get a story about what that chef's doing 5 years later. Um, okay, what's up next? Undead Unluck. Not reading. It's trash. I've heard I've heard so many positive impressions about Undead Unluck. Um, Undead Unluck is a series about a bunch of characters called negators or something. They all have an unability, unluck, unstoppable, uninterested. I don't know if that last one is real. Um, but you know, all of these uncharacters have powers that tie into their negation ability. Um, so Unluck, the girl in the back, is a is someone with the power to make people incredibly unlucky by touching them. The guy up front is a dude who is undead. Um, and the whole conceit of the beginning of the story is that he wants to die, and he feels like if he makes enough physical contact with Unluck, uh, he'll become so unlucky that he will finally get to die. Uh, and you can guess how he wants to initiate the physical contact. uh, and that's like I've seen so many people be like, "Oh no, like yeah, it starts out really gropey, it starts out really sexual assaulty, but he abandons it completely like, 3 chapters in." So then I'm like, "Okay," and I read a full volume of it and and uh the girl is just put in sexually uncomfortable situations and uh and in situations with a lack of consent for that whole volume, and then people will say, well, after 3 volumes it they stop, and it's like, I'm not giving this 3 volumes. I'm done. I can't invest any more time and interest in this series because it starts so bad, it starts so awful, that it's not worth it to me to like get to the payoff. um Yeah, I don't get who. Oop, 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 oop. Yeah, you don't get who likes it. The premise seems great, but the main character is awful. Yeah. Undead Unluck is weird in that the gropey humor stops after like 5 to 6 chapters, and then you heard it's really good. It does not stop for at least 7 chapters. I read the first volume. It stops at chapter 7, and like, yeah, yeah, like yeah, it no matter how good it gets after that, the amount of time they spent on it has ended up being a deal breaker for me. Yeah, you don't know why they did that just to stop it immediately, right? There's that too. Like, why did you bother making the beginning of the series like that if you're if you're gonna do take backsies like apparently so soon in, right? You have now turned off the people that don't want to see that kind of thing, and you've disappointed the people who tuned in to see that kind of thing. Just yeah. Anyway, I'm not reading it. It's trash. Um Mashal. Mashal. Mashal's been janky but enjoyable. You don't even find the central premise that interesting. It's just an everyone has different powers manga, but with a grammatical prefix. You know, like sometimes it's cool to see everyone has powers, but there is a restriction to the powers, right? It's cool to see that. I honestly like I was really interested in the world building of Undead Unluck, but then all that other shit happened. That's fair. You didn't enjoy Melodious in the beginning of Seven Deadly Sins. Seven Deadly Sins is another show that Devin and I just won't watch because there's too much of that. There's too much of that shit. Um Mashal. Mashal people may have heard of. Um Mashal is One Punch Man goes to Hogwarts. That's what Mashal is. That's all that Mashal is. The creator of Mashal isn't even pretending it's anything besides that. Like look at that cover. Look at that cover. Like it's they even drew a scar on him. It's not a scar, it's a magic line. Every character in the series has those magic lines. Um Also, a character does show up in Mashal that looks even more like Harry Potter than Mashal does. um, you'll give me a magic line. Uh, and Mashal the manga has been really fun. So it ended. It ended this year. Um, the anime started and the manga ended. The manga concluded. I've read the ending. Um, and yeah, Mashal has been fun. Mashal has been a fun series. Um, Unfortunately, like it started as an action comedy, right? It started as like the humor being Mashal, the main character, is one of the few people in the world that can't use magic, but he enrolls in a magic school for reasons, right? He enrolls in magic school to like protect his father. Um, and he has to like make it seem like he knows magic, so he does a bunch of like he's very like he's basically a super jock. He's a very muscly man, and he uses his muscles to like kind of trick people into thinking he has magic. And yeah, that's very funny. And then it turned into more and more of an action series. And there's more and more fights where it's just wizards casting spells at each other because Mashal's off doing something else, and it kind of loses its own focus, right? Um, the finale where Mashal fights the final boss is actually pretty fun. It's pretty cool once it finally gets to that point. And I did like the ending. The ending was fun. Um, Honestly, I'm more disappointed in the anime, which I think if it had the budget that the first season of One Punch Man did, it Mashal could have been huge. But instead, it had the budget that the second season of One Punch Man did. uh, which was not as much of a budget. Like the animation just seems bad. The animation of Mashal isn't very good, and I think it would have gotten more of a following if the gags had better animation and better pacing. The writing is clunkier and worsely paced than the manga, and I don't really get it. Mashal seems like a story where you're there for the journey of the characters and not the plot. You didn't expect the last half of the anime to be one story. It seemed very episodic until then. Um, the yeah, it gets very very continuity based. Yeah, continuity is a big deal in Mashal after the first few episodes. Um, also, that's just season one. That's or really the first half of the season. I think I think the next season debuts sometime in 2024. Um, yeah, but yeah, overall, Mashal is still like a jolly time. Um, I think there are some generally like hilarious moments in Mashal, both at the beginning and at the end. Not so much in the middle, funnily enough, but I think the ending kind of recovered some of its humor, and I appreciated that. So yeah, Mashal is janky but enjoyable, and it's near the top of janky but enjoyable. You also find it funny how they just forget about the Quidditch captain once the new mystery powerful character gets introduced. They do that a lot. They will just completely forget characters. He seemed like he was part of the friend group and then he just like disappeared. Yeah, like Masha will do that more. Masha will do that more often. It'll just introduce new characters and forget about the characters that it made important just like minutes ago. Still had fun with it though. Still don't hate Mashal. Um, Me and Roboco. Not reading, it's trash. uh, Me and Roboco. Um, okay, Me and Roboco is a manga about a 10-year-old boy in a world where every family has a sexy robot maid. And he really wants a sexy robot maid, but his mother makes a mistake when ordering the robot maid. Uh, and he gets a robot maid that is fat and ugly. That's the entire premise of the series. Um, like all the like there's two different kinds of jokes. One, the characters will go on an adventure that references another Shonen Jump manga, and the entire joke is like, oh, this is like Dr. Stone. We're making fun of Dr. Stone now. Isn't this funny? Uh, and then the other kind of joke is, uh, haha, Roboco is trying to do cute maid shit, but she's fat and ugly. Um, and I've seen so many people like there's three kinds of jokes. I just said the first two. The third one is the 10-year-old boy gets uh gets involved in highly sexual things. Um and like I keep seeing people online like being like, no, Roboco's really good actually. It's really wholesome, it's really fun. It's charming. And then they'll like show a page from it, and the page is just like a full page of like the 10-year-old boy's mom dressing up in sexy cosplay while the 10-year-old boy begs her to stop making him horny. Anime, manga, I love it. It's so good. Moving on. The cover is nightmare fuel. Yeah, the whole series sucks. People love it. Not a lot of people, to be fair, but there's like a very vocal fan base for me and Roboco, and I don't get it. Um, our next series is High School Family. I feel like I should change the background image before I start ranking it. High School Family. You've legit never seen anyone say Roboco was good? Well, that's kind of a relief. Yeah, I guess like I'm just like entrenched kind of deeply in the manga community at this point, right? So I guess I see a lot of people say a lot of different things, and amongst those people are several people that really vouch for me in Roboco. But thinking back, it does seem to be like the same three or four people that really vouch for it. So High School Family is pretty much exactly what you see there on the right. It's exactly what it says on the tin, right? Um, a high school a boy enters his first year of high school and then finds out that his dad is also enrolled in the high school. He's quit his salaryman job because he never went to high school and he wants to try high school. So he's going to his son's high school with him and they're going to be first years together. And then he finds out that his 6-year-old sister is a prodigy and she's enrolling in the high school. And then he finds out that their mom doesn't want to be left out, so she's enrolling too. And then their cat enrolls. And uh that's either as bad or as great as it sounds, depending on how that sounded to you. Because that's exactly what it is. It's just a family going to high school together. The boy being mortified that he has to live his high school years with his whole family all in the same homeroom as him. Like he can't have a high school crush without his dad being around. Um and all the characters get to develop, right? Like, the dad starts getting into sports clubs. Um the little sister discovers that she's really good at shogi. The little sister gets a part-time job because she's a high schooler. The cat joins a gang. Honestly, High School Family is like better than it has any right to be. It's just a gag manga about that. It's just a gag manga about exactly what it says on the cover. Um, but it has it has some really funny jokes in it about the high school family. And sometimes sometimes it just goes on arcs where it's like a sports manga for a bit. Like sometimes it just sometimes the dad just like joins the volleyball team and it just rips off of Haikyuu for a bit. Um but yeah, mostly it's actually kind of fun. And it ended this year. It got it got canceled after almost like crossing like the 3 years without cancellation mark. It got canceled while they were in the middle of their second school year. An epilogue chapter got released where they're third years, but it's that has not been released in English officially yet. So I don't know how their story ends. Well, I know how their story ends, but I don't know what happens when they're third years. There is like a little time skip at the end to them graduating. Um, it's High School Family might be the good shit. I don't think it's gonna be at the top or near the top of the good shit, but I had thinking back on it, I had much more fun with it than I thought I ever would. Canceled, sad face. Yeah, sorry, it did. It has been discontinued. But hey, that means it's never gonna be too long, right? It's like 100 chapters, uh, and then when you're done, you don't have to worry about more. Yeah, there's still like 2.5 years worth of content, and you don't have to be overwhelmed by it. Let's see what's next. Ho 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 ho. When you're done, you don't have to worry about more. That's how endings work. Well, I just thought I'd let you know. I just thought I'd let you know, man. Okay, next up. Next up is Sakamoto Days. Sakamoto Days is a manga about a hitman. Um, a hitman uh who is the top hitman in the world. He is one of the best hitmen out there. But then he falls in love, uh, has a kid with her, and then disappears from the assassin world. Um, uh, and then a young blonde boy finds him, finds this legendary assassin, and finds out that he is turned into a chubby old man that runs a convenience store. Um, and things happen that get older Sakamoto pulled back into the assassin world. Um, and basically it's just so much of the series is just Sakamoto and his supporting cast of characters in like these mundane set pieces, like the convenience store, like a theme park, like a museum, and just getting into Jackie Chan fights in them. just like just just these awesome fights that like use this mundane scenery as part of the fight scene, you know, like uh Sakamoto Days is one of my favorite series in the magazine right now. Easily top tier. Uh the action is fantastic. The characters are great, excellently designed, with cool stories that really get you invested in them. The action is very frequently mixed with comedy, and it balances the action and the comedy really well. Uh yeah, this is one of the best things in the magazine right now. It's it's the thing I want to see get an anime the most, because I think if the fight scenes in this are well animated, um it could be the next Demon Slayer. If it gets a good animation team, this could be like a mega hit. I believe that with like my whole heart. Um yeah, it's so good. It's really good. And yeah, I'd recommend it easy if you feel like reading manga, easy read. If you don't feel like reading manga, just keep an eye out for the anime, because I'm sure it'll get an anime at some point. Anime has not been announced yet, um, but it's getting a Jump Festa, like a Shonen Jump convention is happening within like the next week or two. There's going to be a Sakamoto Days panel at that convention. Um, and a voice actor is going to be at the panel. So I have a feeling an anime announcement might happen very soon. You know, I said Jackie Chan fights to get your attention, and dot 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 dot. It worked. Look, yeah, A, I know what you like, but B, it's genuinely like the best way to describe what's happening. You know, like it's like there's like the like yeah, like martial arts movies with a heavy emphasis on using the scenery as like weapons and like and fighting props. That is such like a distinctly Jackie Chan thing. um and this and Sakamoto Days is filled with it. Like it's a clear influence. It's a very noticeable influence. And yeah, they nail it. They do. Yeah, it's great. Sakamoto Days is great, man. um yeah, top tier, easy. um okay, up next. Next is a series called The Elusive Samurai. um The Elusive Samurai is the latest series from Yusei Matsui. the creator of Assassination Classroom. That series with the big like yellow octopus that with the smiley face. Um, and and it's The Elusive Samurai is historical fiction. It follows the story of of a real um of a real life child emperor um who who was known in history for making a strategic retreat in a major battle and then coming back and reclaiming uh that uh like his hometown, right? um it's this is basically like Japanese Hamilton, right? Like it takes this very like dry historical story and turns it into kind of a very snappy like action manga story with a lot of humor in it that's probably like more palatable to kids reading about this history, right? um yeah, I've definitely learned a lot about this era of history um thanks to Elusive Samurai. Um, but that said, this will be the first series that I put in the verge of dropping category. Uh, it's kind of in it's all right. But yeah, it's still it's like, it's doing its best to make it palatable, but it is still covering like a very like dry period of history to me. Um, and I've been kind of skimming it lately. Also Yusui Matsui is weird. Um like the the main characters in this are very young. They're child soldiers. But he'll do weird anime stuff with those characters, like um it's I don't like seeing like teenagers get sexualized and stuff when I read manga, and these characters aren't even teenagers. They're younger than that. So like it's been a hard read sometimes. And yeah, they're covering history and you know characters that young got sexualized in this historical period, but I don't doesn't mean I need to read about that shit. It doesn't mean you have to write about it. I can tell you about my day yesterday. I'm not going to tell you about all the times I took a dump during that day. You can leave stuff out. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. I'm sorry. Um, yeah, there is stuff of value in Elusive Samurai, and it's a really interesting project. Um, but yeah, it both can be kind of boring sometimes and kind of a drag to read. Um, Even though like a lot of the war sequences are very well drawn, and the way they depict these large scale battles can be pretty cool. Um, but yeah, sometimes the writing is it just skeeves me out a bit. That's all. That's all. All right, next up. So yeah, these have been series that debuted in like 2020, and I think we're in 2021 series debuts now. Um, yeah, Witch Watch debuted in 2021. Witch Watch. Um, Man, Witch Watch feels complicated to talk about. Um, so Witch Watch has a premise I love. Nico Wakatsuki, a a teenage witch, is about to go to high school. But there's her mother witch, her mom, uh comes up find makes a prophecy like divines a prophecy um that that Nico is going to befall some sort of tragedy during her school experience. Um so she is assigned a familiar, and her familiar is a boy with ogre blood, that is her also her childhood friend and her childhood crush. Uh and in order to protect her, they have to live under the same roof together. And over the course of the story, Nico accrues several other familiars slash friends, right? Who end up living together with them, and they all have like kind of mystical creature things going on, right? Like a Tengu moves in with them, a vampire moves in with them, a werewolf moves in with them. Um, and it's mostly a gag manga about just like Nico like casting spells that go awry, and the gang having to put out the fire or whatever. But sometimes it's a very sweet romance manga about Nico and the ogre boy. And sometimes it's an action manga with really cool fight sequences and really well thought out like action sequences that are almost like cerebral, like like fights taking place in people's dreams and that kind of thing, right? Um and and there if I may have put this in top tier like 2 months ago. But a major arc just ended, and the way it ended, uh, made like like upset me. um, like there a new chapter of the story is starting, and the way the last arc left off is a way that's like ruined the romance for me, and like made all these changes that I don't really like. And it's not like it ruined the romance in a, oh, they broke up, I just need them to get back together next season. It's like it ends in a way where it's like where it's like I don't know if I want them to get together anymore. um yeah, sorry for like the cryptic vague complaining about Witch Watch, but like uh really there's so much to love about Witch Watch. Um and yeah, this year had both one of my favorite Witch Watch arcs that turned into like my least favorite Witch Watch arc. Uh it's a roller coaster, but it's in janky but enjoyable because I would still recommend it to people. I wish more people would read Witch Watch. I want more people to talk with about Witch Watch. It's yeah, it's filled with great characters, really funny like bits and gags. Like there's um there are multiple chapters uh about denim jean maintenance. uh that's the sort of like uh wacky, like that's the sort of shit like that the manga get like weirdly fixated on. And it's fun. I like it a lot. It's fun. um I'm still reeling a bit from the way the last arc ended, but you know um we're still very early in that arc. Maybe they'll salvage it somehow. I don't know. um but yeah, janky but enjoyable. Which watches in janky but enjoyable. What's next? Okay. Okay. All right, next is a series called Blue Box. Blue Box is a series that people thought would be a sports manga, but it's actually a romance manga. Um, a a a boy enters his first year of high school, like ends his last year of middle school slash enters his first year of high school. Um, and he's a badminton player. And he has a crush on a girl 2 years his senior. Uh, or like one like I think like one grade is senior, and she's like a year and a half older than him. Um, and she is the captain of her basketball team. Um, so it's about these sports kids kind of falling for each other, and kind of exploring their romance. And I think honestly, like I put in the good shit. It's uh it's just a pretty well done romance manga. Like I I'm invested in the characters, you know? I root for these characters to be happy and for them to get together, and I'm really interested in their development. Um things felt repetitive in the bit Things felt repetitive for a bit in the middle there. But they got out of that rut, and this year has had some really interesting developments in Blue Box. I've been really interested to see where the story's been going in Blue Box. Um, I think one of the things that's very easy to do is to make a romance manga feel stagnant and uninteresting. And they've been avoiding that. They got close to that point, and then they realized that it was time to like be active and not stay stuck in that spot. Um, so yeah, I think Blue Box is really cute. It's pretty good. An anime just got announced. An anime just got announced. I think it's coming out next year. Um, so so yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to it. I am. Um, oh, okay. All right, up next. Um, Up next. Keep waiting for the ad pop up to happen, and then it doesn't happen. Why you do this? Okay, yeah. Next up is P P P P P P P P P P P P P P P P P P P P P P P P P P P. Yeah. Um. Really, how it's intended to be pronounced is pianisi isi pianissimo. Anyway, it's pianissimo a lot of times. Um, it's a piano manga. It got canceled this year. It debuted last year, and it's really weird because like it was really popular, right? Like it got like its volume sales were like actually kind of huge for for a uh for a new series from a rookie author, right? Like it it got a lot of attention when it first came out, and then volume sales kind of stagnated after the first few volumes, and then Shonen Jump was just like, yeah, we'll drop it. Actually, we're done, and it ends pretty abruptly. Um, this has a really strange art style. Um, that starts out like kind of sloppy and bad, but like over the course of the series, it gets really polished and becomes really like striking. Um, and it's very like um, like it's about basically it's about a boy who's born to a family of piano playing prodigies, and he sucks at playing the piano. Um, he's mediocre at it. He's not bad at it, but he's not good. And all six of his siblings, he's the seventh. He's one of the septuplets, and all six of his siblings are incredible at it. Right? They are all piano geniuses. Um, so it's about him still wanting to play the piano even though he's bad at it, even though he's been disowned by his piano prodigy father and his siblings, and his mom is like bedridden and also disowned by the family. Um, it's got like kind of that drama, right? It's got a lot of drama to it. And a lot of like really interestingly depicted like art of like how it feels to play a piano and how it feels to listen to a piano being played. It's really like, it's one of those like this might be art. This might be art kind of series, It's a really interesting read, and it does unfortunately, the storytelling does unfortunately suffer a bit from its cancellation. Uh but the series ends up having like a really ballsy ending as a result. Like the ending blew me away. Like the ending was crazy, man. Uh, but in the end, it felt like a worthwhile read to me, so I guess that paid off. Um, so we will call it janky but enjoyable. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it quite deserves to be the good shit. Honestly, I'm kind of rethinking Blue Box. Like, is Blue Box janky but enjoyable? Nah, Blue Box is a little bit the good shit. Not a lot, but it's a little bit the good shit. PPPPPPP is at the top of janky but enjoyable for now. Yeah, that's what I'll do. All these series getting canceled, but Roboco is still going. LOL. Fucking tell me about it, man. Like, God. Part of it is because Roboco is a gag manga, and I'm sure it's very cheap to maintain. That's also part of the reason probably that High School Family got to run for multiple years before getting canceled, because like the page count is lower, you don't need to hire as many assistants to work on it. Like it's cheaper to maintain the series. So I bet that's part of the reason that Roboco's also just kind of selling well. Like it's selling kind of well for a gag manga in the 2020s. So they're keeping it around. Roboco has technically gotten an anime adaptation. Like it's gotten several like 1 minute webisodes, and it's getting a movie. I don't get it, man. I don't get Japanese taste sometimes. But it's around. It's sticking around. Ooh, up next. Um, my fiance is home. Um, okay, up next. Up next is a good one, man. Akane Banashi. Um, Akane Banashi is about a high school girl. Um, Akane, who whose father is a very talented rakugo performer. A rakugo is a storytelling performance art, mainly in Japan, where where you kind of like sit down on a stage like on your knees in like a robe, and uh and you tell a story like very orally, right? It's very dialogue focused, right? Like you kind of set up the story, and then as the rakugo performer, you you play out a dialogue between multiple characters, while you are the one that plays every character in that scene, and you do it without like getting up or moving. You can only like kind of differentiate the characters by like your head position, right? Like, oh, I'm the left guy, I'm the right guy. Um and by like, you know, using your voice and your inflection to kind of differentiate the characters. Um it's you know, it's a very specific, very niche storytelling art. And like uh there's a whole ass like sports manga about it, basically, like about Akane moving up in the Rakugo world, um to kind of initially like avenge her father after he got disgraced and like expelled from his Rakugo school for like very trivial reasons in her eyes. So it's about her like uh it's about her kind of, yeah, moving up in the Rakugo world, entering Rakugo tournaments, meeting other Rakugo artists and like learning from them. And it's one of those great, you know, Rakugo isn't a sport, but it's one of those great sports mangas where like it does a good job like teaching you the hobby. It does a good job like telling you the things you know about the things you sorry, it does a good job telling you the things you need to know about the activity, while the character is like doing the activity, right? Like the character, like Akane learns new things about Rakugo, and then you get to learn those new things about Rakugo. And and the ways the Rakugo performances are depicted in the manga are like fantastic. Uh like they managed to take like a character sitting still and like inject so much like character, and so much like animation into it. This is another one that I'd love to see animated. And you don't even need a very expensive animation studio to do this one. Um, Shit, man, you wish you could do Rakugo? It sounds fun as hell. I My interest in Rakugo has gone way up since reading Akane Banashi. Like, Akane Banashi makes Rakugo seem cool, and I think that is a testament to how good Akane Banashi is. Um, Also, like, it's a Shonen Jump manga with a female protagonist that doesn't like that isn't like fan servicey, you know, like at all. Um, and man, that's so refreshing. It's such a refreshing series. The art is fantastic, the writing is fantastic, the translation is phenomenal. The translation is from Stephen Paul, the guy that's currently translating One Piece. And he's at the top of his game when he translates Akane Banashi. He he effortlessly explains all these very specific Japanese terminologies to you, and like and uh and kind of communicates them in a way that you would be that makes sense to like an American, like an English speaking mind, you know. Yeah. uh yeah, man. Yeah, man. Just have I already maxed out my top tier? We're gonna move One Piece to the top of the good shit, just in case. Will One Piece return to top tier? Maybe, but I know that Sakamoto Days and Akane Banashi are not moving from top tier. So this is what we're looking at right now. All right. Um. Yeah. We're through a decent handful of series, and we got a decent handful of series left. Um. Yeah, Akane Banashi is still running. It started, I want to say 2022. I guess I could look at it like right here. Yeah, started running February of 2022. It's still going. It's selling pretty well for for like a manga that doesn't have an anime adaptation and is being written by like being written and drawn by an author and an artist that are not like a big deal yet, you know. Um yeah, it's doing pretty well. I feel like an anime is inevitable, but we'll probably have to wait a bit before we hear about that. Right. Okay, up next. Oh God. Let me close this window. No. Okay. Oh my God. Fucking no. This site really wants me to invest in an ad blocker. I won't have time to. What if I just refresh this window? Will it give me a different kind of annoying ad? Yeah, that I can handle. That's fine. Okay. Up next, Tokyo Demon Bride Story. It's debuted later in 2022, and it has been canceled already. Um, it's basically about you know, about a teenager, like a 17-year-old guy, um, who when he was 7 years old, 10 years ago, he told his childhood friend that he was going to marry her and protect her. Uh, and then he moved away or she moved away. Point in case, he never saw her again. But then now, 10 years later, uh, his childhood friend appears at his door, and it turns out she is a demon princess, and the declaration of marriage was a legally binding proposal. Uh, so now, much to his chagrin, she is his demon fiance. Um, and it turns out that he also has like blood that's very tasty to demons or whatever. So she is a skilled swordswoman, and she protects him from a bunch of demons uh, as they try to, like, uh, as they like live together and stuff, right? Um, this when this launched, it was very interesting to me because it felt like the author had like a game plan, right? Like it felt like the author was like, okay, I have so many elements shoved into this story. So like if uh so if like people don't like this as like a slice of life if people don't like this as a slice of life romance, oh my god. Blah 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 blah. So the author's like, if people don't like this as a slice of life romance, then I can just turn it into an exorcist action battle manga. And if they don't like that, I can introduce a bunch of new demon girls and turn it into a harem anime. And if they don't like that, um, the boy doesn't know what happened to his parents, so I can make it a mystery manga, right? Um, and basically, like the next like 4 months of this manga existing was the mangaka trying all of those things, and then the series got discontinued. um, and like there were some fun character designs in it. Uh, there's some fun character designs. There were some interesting developments. I think this was the author's first series. Tadaichi Nakama Tadaichi. And Every time you hear Exorcist action battle manga at this point, your eyes roll so fast that they fly out of your head into space. Well, hold on to your eyeballs, buddy. We're not. Hold on to your eyeballs for later. Um, but anyway, like this is one of those series where like I kind of liked reading it as this person's first manga series, right? Like I think I'm not surprised. Um, that's smart. Cover all your bases so your story can be any genre. Honestly, I was kind of fascinated by that approach. I thought it was actually a really clever approach in this world of like uh in kind of this very cutthroat world of manga publication where like if the audience isn't interested in your story and you can't regain that if you can't regain their interest in enough time, you're out, you're done. 16 chapters, that's it, you know, like uh so I thought it was actually very cool how much he had thought out all the ways he could shift gears to potentially gain a different audience after he had lost his previous audience by just like just generally not being that compelling. Uh, it's a great strategy. Unfortunately, it did not work out for this guy. But what I do think is cool is that yeah, this author will probably be back with a new story, and I'm really interested to see what that story will be. Um, I'd say it's probably here or here. I'd be more likely to recommend Tokyo Demon Bride's story to someone than I would be to recommend Mission Yozakura Family, probably. Um, although, there's, there's some weird fan servicey anime tropes in this one. But I guess the good news is that it doesn't get to spend much time on those tropes before it leaves the magazine. Ooh, okay. Up next, Ginka. Ginka and Gluna. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Um, but Ginka and Gluna is Gluna, and the U has little umlauts over it. Um, is yeah, it's a story about a witch girl who grows up by herself. She's like a she's an orphan girl who becomes the witch apprentice of the snowman in the back there. She's Ginka, he's Gluna. Um, and they go on a magical adventure for the snowman to get his original body back. Um, the pacing of the story was kind of a janky mess. It didn't have a lot of focus to it. Um, uh, the author did get his act together. Get the author did get their act together for the ending. Like the last few chapters were very moving and touching, and very very interesting. Uh the author was basically making very strong case for like, hey, I should come back to the magazine and I can do more stuff like this if you let me, you know. um but yeah, like yes, the it was kind of a mess, but the art was gorgeous, the characters were charming, some great character designs. um and there were some really like genuinely wonderful moments. But I do think but it did get discontinued. It did get canceled. Um, and yeah, I'm not terribly surprised. I think it was the right call. But there's charm in there. There's something compelling and charming inside Ginka and Gluna. So I think I'm putting it at the bottom of janky but enjoyable. Um, and with that, we all the remaining series are series that debuted in 2023. Um, These are all stories that started this year. Some of them have already ended this year. Oh wait, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Not all of them have started this year. We're not there yet. We're close. We're very close. My mistakey. Um, we're close. And I should clarify publication year 2023. Um, okay, up next is oop, goodness. Up next is the Ichinose family's deadly sins. Um, man, this is like a mystery thriller basically. Um, uh, from the author of a very popular and viral manga called Takopi's Original Sin. He likes writing about sin, I guess. But the Ishinosi family's deadly sins is basically about a boy who wakes up in a hospital with amnesia, and his family is all gathered around his bed, and they announce to him that they also have amnesia. Um, but that's not done as it's not a gag manga. It's a very serious, very depressing manga about like them trying to uncover their past lives, them wondering if they should uncover their past lives, them kind of contemplating if maybe they weren't good people in their past lives, um and kind of mm, like kicking up the muck that is all of their past tragedies and traumas. Really interesting, really cool start. Um it kind of devolved into like every week being like a new plot twist to keep people interested, and and each plot twist made less sense than the last. Like it's just like you know it just became mindless. Like it's like, oh, you didn't expect this, oh, you didn't expect this, and it's like, well, what I expect at this point is for you to pull up some bullshit that I don't expect. um and yeah, really cool concept, but I think the author wasn't used to like writing a story that went on for this long. And it really lost steam partway through. The ending is one of those like, oh fuck, like the ending's very ballsy also. The ending's like, oh, you ended on a tone that I wasn't expecting you to end on. Um the Riverdale approach. Holy shit. Oh my god. I haven't even watched Riverdale, and that feels accurate. That's pretty good. Yeah. Oh man. Oh man. If my fiance walks into because Devin and I read this together. Devin and I both read Ishinoshi Family's Deadly Sins. Um, but yeah, that's hilarious. That's really good. Um, but yeah, unfortunately, that did kind of cut into the quality of it. It did conclude. It did kind of get canceled, or the author decided this is one of those where it was selling pretty well, so I do wonder if the author maybe was like, hey, I'm done. Can I stop this? Can I end this now? And Shonen Jump was like, fine, you're not making us that much money. Um, yeah, I'd probably put it in It's All Right. Um, but maybe yeah, I'll I'll put it here. How does this feel? How does this feel? How does it feel at the bottom of janky but enjoyable? How does it feel at the top of It's All Right? There is enough of value in Ichinosi Family that it feels that it feels a bit cynical, a bit callous to put it in It's All Right. I'd but what I yeah, janky but enjoyable is the category where I would recommend the manga. Would I recommend Ichinose Family's Deadly Sins to people? I would recommend like the first 10 chapters, the first 10 to 30 chapters of Ichinose Family's Deadly Sins. Um and then I'd say you can skip to the ending. Yeah, we'll leave it in janky but enjoyable. We'll leave it in janky but enjoyable. I'd recommend parts of it, but it does get tough to recommend the whole thing. And yeah, this did debut. It ran for almost a year before ending. Almost a year. 1 week short of a year. But yeah, this uh this this started at the end, right at the end of publication year 2022, almost the end of that year. We've got two 2022 series left. Next up is a series called Cypher Academy. Um Cypher Academy is about about a boy that looks a lot like a girl attending an all girls school. Um Not for pervy reasons, for once. But attending an all girls school of of uh of characters that are learning ciphers, right? It's a cipher academy. It's literally like they are there to like decode these like unsolvable codes. Uh and they're learning those things for war and for, like for espionage, right? And all these other different reasons. Um so basically um uh So basically, every chapter of Cypher Academy is the protagonist is given um like a very Japanese like brain teaser or mind puzzle, and then like solves it with his intellect, right? That's your standard chapter of Cypher Academy. But also it gets into kind of like all these interpersonal relationships in the school, like all these clashing motivations. Um, a lot of the characters are learning these abilities so that they can contribute to any wars that happen. But the protagonist wants to make a world with no war. One of those. Um, it it becomes a very silly story about uh the the school has a metaverse server in it with $1 billion worth of cryptocurrency, and the cast of characters all race to uh to get the cryptocurrency treasure to achieve their various goals. um and uh and so okay, so putting Cypher Academy at verge of dropping, right? For a couple of reasons. Like like I was kind of like letting it stew for a minute. It does seem to mostly be like trying to make crypto cool, and that's just exhausting. um and two is that it's so dense. It's so wordy and so dense, and sometimes the puzzles barely make any sense in English. Like the first translator for Cypher Academy quit after 12 chapters, and they had to replace that translator with a new translator because Cypher Academy was just so dense and so wordy and so dependent on wordplay in Japanese that had to be localized and translated into wordplay in English that still makes sense in that language. God, I do not envy the translator of Cypher Academy. Um, but like the character designs are great. Sometimes there's some very fun moments. Uh, uh, there's like one of the there's one fun gag in Cypher Academy, right? Where like it shows like a cast of characters. Like there's like there's a like a 2-page spread of a bunch of character icons with their names underneath it. Um, and one of the characters has like a black bar over their eyes, and their name is anonymity requested. Um, Anonymity Requested goes on to become one of the most important characters in the manga. She doesn't have the black bar over her eyes anymore, but her name is still Anonymity Requested. uh and like there it's bits like that that like stay that like are kind of funny and keep me slightly interested, but I have been skimming it lately. It's just so dense and so tiring to follow. So I am on the verge of dropping it. SJ cryptocurrency manga was not something you were expecting to hear about today, lol. Yep. Oh, um, one sec. Uh, one sec. Okay, all right, babe, Devin.
Yeah.
Uh, would you say that the Ishinose family's deadly sins is the Riverdale of Shonen Jump manga?
Maybe.
Right? Just like it's just the fact that like every episode is another fucking twist that becomes more and more incomprehensible. It doesn't really give a shit what it's doing by the end.
It does not give a shit.
Yeah, right?
It's just random shit constantly.
Yeah, it's the Mr. Cactus said that it's like Riverdale.
It is like Riverdale.
Yeah, yeah, no, isn't that incredible?
It's just like a mind bend every chapter.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I yeah, we agree. We agree, Mr. Cactus. Okay. So yeah, verge of dropping Cypher Academy. There is stuff of value about it though, but the stuff of value about it is not the cryptocurrency. Okay, what's next? Ah, yes. Oh, I wonder how I'm gonna rate this one. Um, okay, so the last manga of 2022, and then after that we are fully manga that debuts in 2023. Um, is a manga called Ichigoki's Under Control. Um, Ichigoki's Under Control is about a boy who, on his first day of high school, it's funny, like Shonen Jump is a manga magazine that's supposed to be for like high schoolers and teenagers. So it's funny that a lot of mangas start like on a character's first day of high school, but it makes sense. This is one of them. On a boy's first day of high school, he gets into an accident involving his childhood friend who's going to be enrolling in the same year as him and is also a mad scientist. Um, he gets mauled by a gorilla. Um, and he gets mauled by a gorilla and basically dies, and his mad scientist childhood friend revives him as a cyborg. As um and for whatever reason she is also shrunk to like this size and is inside of his robot brain, like piloting him because she hasn't she hasn't fixed up the body enough yet that it can run autonomously. So that they can both go to school together. She pilots his body. She pilots his robot body while they attend school together. And she just attends school from like inside his head. It's like a little tiny thing. It's a gag manga, obviously. Every chapter is just about like uh the boy Ichigoki like trying to have a normal school day, and then robot bullshit happens, mad scientist bullshit happens. Um and it got canceled. It's over. The manga ended. And for like the first like 13 to 14 chapters is very like kind of just this just the it's just a mediocre gag manga, right? Um but then the manga starts doing these big time skips. Um there's there's one chapter where they introduce an antagonist who uh who confronts Ichigoki at the beginning of every season. Um and so during that chapter he just confronts him multiple times so that by the end of the chapter like 12 seasons have gone by and it's the end of his school year. and then like and then uh there's there's more time skips. um sorry, one sec. Oh. um right, so then there's more time skips, to the point that that by the end of the series, this character that was a high school boy at the beginning of the series is like 28 or like 29 when the series ends, and each of the time skips are like really wild and like, it's very funny. It ends in a very funny way, and I was very entertained by the way it closed out. Um, so like probably yeah, I'll probably put it janky but enjoyable. I'm gonna need to explain to you why Hunter x Hunter is it's all right since you just got here. Because I am reviewing every manga. I'm putting every manga on the tier list for its performance in 2023. Hunter x Hunter is obviously a top tier manga to me. It's a top tier series. Um, but its performance in 2023 was uh 4 chapters of that series' worst arc. So like, yeah, Hunter x Hunter's 2023 performance was all right. Overall, it's top tier. Okay, understandable. LOL. Yeah, yeah. Thanks. But yeah, Ichigoki's Under Control is also the last series that came out in in the publication year of 2022 for Shonen Jump. So the rest of these all debuted in publication year 2023, and aka the beginning of December 2022 up until now. And let's see, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We got 11 series left, and this here is just My Hero Academia, which I haven't read. We've watched a bunch of the anime, but I haven't read My Hero Academia, so that's why it's just at the bottom here. It will not go on the tier list. All right, so Just looking so far. Yeah. Yeah, so far we've got Sakamoto Days and Akane Banashi in top tier. Up to one more series can get put in top tier, three maximum. The good shit is One Piece, Black Clover, High School Family, and Blue Box, and that's also like in like basically that's like best to worst. Like One Piece is at the top of good shit. Blue Box is at the bottom. One Piece is also has the potential to end up in top tier because it's had a very good 2023. And then janky but enjoyable is PPPPPP. Uh, Witch Watch, Mashal, Jujutsu Kaisen, uh, Ginka and Gluna, Ichigogi's Under Control, and Ichinose Family at the bottom of janky but enjoyable. It's Alright is Tokyo Demon Bride Story, followed by Mission Yozakura Family, followed by Hunter x Hunter. Verge of dropping, as in I'm on the verge of dropping it, is Cypher Academy and Elusive Samurai. And not reading because it's trash is Undead Unluck and Me and Roboco. So let's see. Let's talk about our 2023 debuts, some of which are still running and some of which are no longer running. All right, let's pull up the next one. Okay, the next series is called Fabricant 100. Fabricant 100 is kind of this it's like a quasi exorcism battle manga, but it's got like it's got a cool twist to it, I think. Um like basically a doctor, right? A mad scientist, a Frankenstein, uh made 100 stitched together 100 artificial humans before he died. Um and all of those artificial humans want to create the perfect body for themselves. So they do that by uh wait, hold on to your eyeballs, hold on to your eyeballs. First of all, you'll need them later. You'll need your eyeballs later, but also um this has a cooler premise than most, I think. Um the each of those, because it's not really like it's not really like demons or ghosts this time. It's like, yeah, it's like a bunch of Frankenstein's monsters running around, right? Um, and basically, like all of them want to have the perfect human body, and to get that perfect human body, they are killing real humans and stealing their body parts and sewing them onto their body, right? Um, the boy on the cover there. Thank you for putting your eyeballs. uh, sometimes I feel like I should put chat just in the video feed, but I don't really have room for it. And I tell you guys what's happening in chat. Anyone in the VOD is staying updated. Um, that boy there, his entire family is killed by a bunch of fabricants in front of him. Uh, because his family has special blood, right? They have special blood that the fabricants want. So basically the boy stands on the table and he's like, "Hey, um, I'm turning 18 in 5 years. Um, and my body with the special blood will be at its peak in those 5 years, right? Like when I turn 18, like my body will be the best body out there. So I offer my body to be dismantled however you see fit to any fabricant that teams up with me to kill all the other fabricants." And Fabricant 100, who I should see if I can pull her up. Fabricant 100, who was there, murders all the other fabricants in the room immediately. Fabricant 100. uh, a big zombie mommy. Um, and then it's like, and then it's an action battle manga about the two of them trying to find other fabricants who are causing various disturbances in the world to take all the fabricants down. And the story kind of mutates and changes over time and becomes about different things. Um, but there are some very cool like arcs in here. Um, kind of about like humanity and that sort of thing. And it did end. It did get canceled. It ran a little longer than canceled mangas get to run. It had like a run of like 36 or 37 chapters. But it manages to feel like a nice tight like complete story. Like it meanders a bit at the middle and it's slightly rushed at the end. But I thought the ending was actually like really cool. It's one of the best endings I've ever seen a canceled manga get. Uh like everyone stays true to their character. And there are developments that are like just really really cool and interesting and like developments that are shocking but still make sense for the characters at play, like oh man. Um like this was the author's first manga. Um and it won a contest called the Golden Future Cup, which is a contest for rookie manga artists to potentially get published in the magazine. So Fabricant 100 is the series that got them published. It was initially a one shot, and then they got to develop it into a series. And yeah, Daisuke Enoshima. This was a fantastic like first manga for Daisuke Enoshima. Like I thought it was a very well told story, and it was really cool. Yeah, it's the good shit. It's yeah, it's the good shit. That was the good shit. Um Okay, yeah, we're getting into some interesting 2023 debuts next. uh Honestly some series that I've covered on the stream at different times, but I guess this can still be interesting because I'll tell you what's up with those series now. I'll like you get some updates on some of these series that I've brought up earlier in the year. Um so yeah, up next is Tenmaku Cinema. Um yeah, Tenmaku Cinema is a manga from the writer and artist duo that made Food Wars, which is an incredibly fan servicey anime about a chef um that makes food that makes people that eat it nut. I'm not kidding. Um so I was gonna give Tenmaku one chapter and then bail if it had fan service as central of an element that Food Wars did. And man, I was actually really pleasantly surprised. Tenmaku Cinema is basically about a film aficionado who gets haunted by the ghost of someone who claims to be a famous screenwriter, but the film aficionado boy has never heard of him. Um, and basically, you know, um, the two of them basically go like, well, you're here because you're restless and you feel like you haven't accomplished your life's work. um so what if you write a film and I direct it, and maybe you'll be able to ascend after that, right? So yeah, it's about him getting his high school friends together to make a movie based off of Tenmaku's script. um and yeah, it's like it's like a movie making sports manga, like like it yeah, like it shows a bunch of filmmaking techniques and like mangaizes them, like while also kind of being like a little romance story between uh the main boy and the girl he chooses to be his actress. Um and yeah, this was great. I liked it a lot. I'm using past tense because even with the pedigree of the author and artist duo, like even though they're a very popular artist and author duo, this sold like ass in Japan. Nobody bought it, and it ended like immediately. I think it got like 20 chapters or less. Um Even though it was great, like it was really well written, it wasn't um it wasn't really fan servicey, although um like every 5 chapters, a 14-year-old girl would end up in a bikini for some contrived reason. Um, but like, uh, but even like those moments were like brief, like very fleetingly brief, which made it almost more obnoxious. Maybe not more obnoxious. I'm okay with not seeing like more of that than I have to. Uh, but like those started increasing in frequency the closer it got to the end. Like you could sense their desperation. They're like, "Oh, maybe if we throw in some fan service, we'll get to stay alive." But they didn't get to stay alive. That manga just ended. And it's a shame because it was so cool. The at least the benefit of that, I guess, is that uh the the arc feels like a very well made self-contained story, right? Like it's a nice breezy 18-20 chapters. Um but like it has a beginning, middle, and an end, and none of those beats seem too long or too short. Like it's actually a pretty nice self-contained story. So that I think I might also qualify Tenmaku Cinema as the good shit. Um but more in the back of the good shit than the front. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Um Next, what's next? What's next? Oh god, okay. Okay, the next manga is Kill Blue. Um so I guess a fun bit of context, right? Um we're in 2023 now. Spy Family is huge. Spy Family is blowing up. Yozakura Family came out after Spy Family. It's also about a family of spies. A moderate success, right? Uh, Publications like Jump Plus and Jump SQ, like sister magazines, like alternate side projects that still have the Jump branding, are making all these series with hitmen and assassins, um, and mafia and stuff. And they're all like so many of them are selling pretty well. So here comes from a debut from the writer of Kuroko's Basketball, which was a success previously, and also Robot Laserbeam, a golf manga that was not a success. It was like a quasi success, but it kind of got canceled. Like it wasn't as popular as Shueisha wanted it to be, considering it was from uh the creator of a big hit. It wasn't selling the numbers they wanted. So enter Kill Blue that comes out this year. And it's about a hitman. Oh yeah, Sakamoto Day is also about a hitman, right? So Kill Blue is about a hitman Hitman Reborn walks a Spy Family could run. I've only experienced like a little bit of Hitman Reborn, but what I've experienced is cool. Um uh the main Hitman Reborn boy is a fun playable character in Jump Ultimate Stars. Um so uh so Kill Blue is about a 50-year-old hitman um who, while he's doing hitman stuff at a location, gets into an altercation and gets injected with a serum that turns his body into a 14, like a 13 or 14-year-old boy, right? Um and then the boss of his hitman organization says, "Hey, my daughter is going to middle school next year. I want you to enroll in this prestigious middle school and basically scout the middle school for my daughter." And because, it's a fucking anime manga, the character was like, yes, for some reason. And yeah, it's basically about him trying to live a middle school life, while also trying to find a cure for his teenage body. Um, uh, while also like, bumping into other middle school aged hitmen, and like, trying to like keep his cover and all this stuff, right? Um, One of the major plot points is that he tracks the serum down to a pharmaceutical company. One of his female classmates is the heir to that pharmaceutical company. Uh, so they pretend to date, um, for like mutual reasons, and like, yeah, if this is starting to sound uncomfortable to you, yeah, it is like there's all these weird like, there's all these weird like slightly uncomfortable plot lines, and honestly, like the longer this goes on, the more instances there are of like old hitman in young body like trying not to catch a case, basically. Like middle school age girls keep like taking an interest in him, and like, you know I guess a plus is that this character is very uninterested in those girls. Like he is mentally like, he's like, no, I'm an old guy. These girls don't even interest me, which is refreshing in a way, right? I feel like I feel like any other manga, um, it'd just be super gross. But it's still just like, I I could read so many things besides this. I could read so many things besides this. You know? I'm so tired. I'm so tired of manga sometimes. It can be so exhausting to read. And like I keep trying to stick with Kill Blue because like, it's from a big manga creator. It's selling gangbusters in Japan. It's selling really good, better than Robot Laser Beam. Um and it seems like it's probably going to get an anime and shit down the line, so like I have been keeping track of it because it's a hot topic in the manga community right now, but I'm just tired, man. The direction the story is taking is already exhausting me. Um so yeah, verge of dropping. This might be confusing, but left to right is basically like left is least likely to drop, right is most likely to drop. Just continue to think of it as like highest quality on the left, lowest quality on the right. Um so yeah, I would yeah, I'd probably drop Kill Blue before I drop either of these. But I'm considering dropping all of them. I just realized that I don't really have a category for a manga that's canceled and just bad, right? like something that I would want to drop if it wasn't already over. I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. And here's the bridge. uh I'm half kidding, but this is Do Retry. Um Do Retry is a World War II era, World War One, World War Two, I think World War Two era boxing manga about um like the first chapter is really good, right? The first chapter is basically like Grave of the Fireflies with boxing. Um you know, this boy and his sister, their father disappeared, is presumed dead after he like, you know, got drafted, had to fight in the war. And the boy's sister gets sick, so he starts boxing to be able to afford her medical bills, uh, and and to get treatment for the tuberculosis that she turns out to have. Um, and it starts out like pretty cool, like very grounded. Um, and then about 5 chapters in, his first like big opponent is a guy his age who just has like a big fucking like muscly arm. Like his arm is like 3 times the size of his body, and that's very cartoony compared to everything that's happened before that, and the universe just starts to fall apart from that point forward. The author, Jun Kitarazaka, I think is their name. And they are the writer of a very shitty manga called Bone Collection that also got canceled a few years back. Um, so like, uh, yeah, this is a manga that just kind of like falls apart partway through, but then like it goes back up to being like so goofy that it's funny to me. Like the last few chapters, like have a character that like parts the seas Moses style with his boxing punches. Like it just gets so stupid. And like I guess I read the whole thing. I stayed invested through the whole thing. And the ending, like the it ends on kind of a nice note too. Like the beginning and the end were both like really well written in a way where like I kind of want to see what Joan Kitarazaka does next. Um but Do Retry is probably here. Do Retry is probably here. Lot of promise, and a lot of that promise kind of ended up being squandered halfway through. Oh God. Okay. All right. Anybody in here holding on to their eyeballs? Nue's Exorcist is a series about Nue's Exorcist. And it's an exorcist battle manga that sucks. Like it's from a new artist, it's from a new creator. Um and basically like, you know, a high schooler with big self-esteem issues. Like, you know, the self-esteem issues are big. His self-esteem is not. Um uh finds uh finds a room in the corner of his school that has a spirit in it, and the spirit gives him powers to fight evil spirits. Um and Sean's eyeballs are in space. And it's yeah, it is just such like such a lazily written like generic exorcism battle manga. uh with just like cheap fan service and and it's just I don't know. It's just like the most mediocre thing I've read all year. And Japan loves it. Japan bought the hell out of the first volume. It's it's killing it in sales and it's going to be around for a while. It did well enough in sales that it's going to be around for a while. And and because it'll be around, I've been reading it, but yeah, it's every few chapters I just regret it. Every time like one of his girl classmates just sits on his face for no reason. I just yeah, this is easily here on the tier list right now. Um yeah, people will be talking about it. I want to know what people are talking about, but it's just bad. It's just mediocre and bad, and I'm not having a good time reading it. Every now and then, there'll be some really cool art, right? There's a sequence where where the spirit Nue shows the boy her true form, and that's like a really cool, well drawn panel. And then it's like another fucking 5 chapters of oops, I fell onto your butt. Um, there's a spirit in there. Anyway, supernatural action series are an overrepresented subgenre just within Shonen Jump, so you can't even muster any interest in this, Doron Dororon, etc. Doron Dororon ended a while ago, just FYI. You hated this, thank you. So one thing that's actually interesting, uh, is that um I have now covered all of the exorcism series that are in the magazine, right? Including the ones that were in the magazine and no longer are. Um, supernatural action series were really oversaturated in Jump for a really long time, right? When Demon Slayer was at its peak, there would be a minimum of 5 exorcism related series running concurrently, right? Like a fourth of the magazine would be exorcism manga. But now, um, the only exorcism manga that are currently in the magazine, because Fabricant got canceled, right? Um, Jujutsu Kaisen is in the magazine. That's one. Um, Tokyo Demon Bride story got canceled. I knew his Exorcist. That's 2. There's only 2 exorcism manga in the magazine right now. What's funny is that a third exorcism manga is going to debut in the magazine this week. This Sunday, tomorrow, there's going to be a new exorcism battle manga called Shadow Eliminators, but that's not 2023. So we're not talking about that yet. Uh but yeah, they went from being really oversaturated in the magazine to there being 2 exorcism series, right? They really after Demon Slayer, Shonen Jump realized that people were feeling like exorcism was oversaturated. So a lot of exorcism manga that would debut would just get canceled right away, and they stopped trying for a while. And then yeah, this year they're like, "Hey, do you like this exorcism series? It's kind of shitty, but do you like it?" And Japan was like, "Yes." So we might be seeing a a resurgence, another mini boom of exorcism manga in Jump. It might be back, Um unfortunately. Because I was kind of liking this era of Jump, trying out interesting new things. Although, like, the exorcism genre is getting replaced by the hitman genre, right? Like, it's getting replaced by like hitman, assassin, mafia stuff. Like, there's more hitman manga in the magazine right now than there are exorcism manga, right? We got Sakamoto Days, that's one. We got Yozakura Family, uh, and we got Kill Blue. I feel like I feel like there's at least one other one that qualifies that I'm forgetting. Maybe not. Or maybe it's later. No. Whatever. Yeah, still three, like it's gonna be tied with exorcism as a genre this week. But anyway, yeah. New Ways Exorcist is just kind of a lame chore to read. There's two, like, I guess the nice thing you can say about it is it's kind of a breezy read, like I can skim it and still know what's going on, and I have been skimming it lately. I've been barely paying attention to it. Um so at least it's like it's not very complicated and I can kind of figure out what's happening really easily. But yeah. Ooh, but we're back into some decent shit with Marshall Master Asumi. Marshall Master Asumi, the initials MMA are there for a reason because it's about a high school boy named Asumi who gets into MMA, who gets into mixed martial arts. He has a weird family history. His older brother, who he has a very tense relationship, is a pro mixed martial artist, and he kind of gets sucked into that world. This is from Kawada, the artist of Hinomaru Sumo, um, and uh, it started both kind of cool and also kind of weird, but it's really developed into something that I like a lot. Like the sports action is very well drawn. Um, the characters are interesting and cool. Cool character designs, cool fights. You learn cool things about MMA. And it's still running right now. But it hasn't been selling very well, so it might not be running by the next time that I talk about manga on this stream. But I actually really like it. It's fun, it's cool, it's got charming characters, fun fights. The I don't know how invested I am in the new arc that's starting now, but it's definitely like this might be me starting to distance myself from Martial Master Asami because I feel like it might be ending soon. Um because like a month or two ago, I would have put it in the good shit, no question. And honestly, I do like it a little more than Blue Box. It's good. I like it. Yeah, the good shit. It's good shit. This is a more mixed martial artist boy doing mixed martial arts, and it's well drawn, and the arcs are compelling, and the tournaments are fun. You actually, like I think I found myself a little disappointed with the last tournament arc. Like it flowed in kind of a rushed way. Um, and maybe that's because the artist didn't know how long he was going to get to keep writing the story. Yeah, the tournament arc got a little rushed near the end. So actually, yeah, we'll put it at the top of janky but enjoyable. That's where it goes. That's where it stays. Well, maybe not stays. I reserve the right to move things around until I'm done. All right, what's next? All right, 5 series left because My Hero Academia doesn't count. 5 series remaining. Up next. Up next is a series called Icehead Gill. Um, if you follow manga, you might have seen memes about this series, because uh, in English, right? At least in the English speaking manga community, when something gets canceled in manga, it gets axed. That's what we call it. We call it manga getting axed, and so if we're talking about axed manga, we call them axes. Uh, so cue this new manga that comes out with this little boy wielding an axe, whose catchphrase is "No one beats me when it comes to axes." Um, yeah, the manga community would not shut up about how funny that was. Um, Even though in Japan there's that connotation doesn't exist. There's no connection with axes and things getting canceled in Japan. This joke was purely funny, only funny to an English speaking audience. Um, but it did get axed. It did get canceled after like 18 or 19 chapters. Um, and yeah, like I kind of liked it though. It was kind of an adventure manga about this this boy in kind of this Viking fantasy setting. His father was a great axe wielder and a trusted uh a trusted like right hand man of the king. But then he became a lich. This world is filled with liches that like that kill people and then take over their bodies and stuff. Is does this count as exorcism? I feel like it's mostly just fantasy. Um, but his dad's been walking around as a lich, and Gil decides it's his duty to like stop his father, right? Stop his father from killing because he thinks that his father probably doesn't want to kill. Because when you become a lich, you like lose your agency, right? So like this was a pretty fun, like breezy, cute manga. Like the hero's journey of it um reminded me of old school manga like Dragon Ball and Hunter x Hunter. Like it had a charm to it. You can see kind of the charming art style there. And I thought it was cute, but it was very jankily paced. Um and ultimately I wasn't surprised or disappointed when it did get the axe. Um yeah, but I it was charming and I liked the characters and yeah, I really wanted it to be good. I think it's bottom of janky but enjoyable. So okay, four series left, and like these are all from like the most recent batch. I've talked about a lot of these like kind of recently. But you get updates now. You get to see what I think of these things. Um, Up first is Mama Yu Yu. Um, Mama Yu Yu is basically about this world where it's like this fantasy world, right? Where like uh you know there's there's a great hero and there's a demon lord and they're destined to clash against each other. But for the past like 50 years, uh heroes and demon lords have been living in harmony. Um right? They just coexist and work together in civilization. And the main character is a great hero named Corleo, who has actually been adopted and raised by the current demon lord. Um, and that's her with the green hair on the bottom. Um, and and it turns from that into like a multiverse action story, right? Like basically like demons are uh like like um like these creatures that these creatures that threaten to like kind of destroy existence that are neither heroes nor demon lords um are like bleeding into the setting um and Corleo is struggling to stop them. At the same time, other heroes and other demon lords are entering this world from like alternate dimensions and all kind of like, you know, uh all kind of clashing with each other and having to work together. There's some demon lords that are good, there's some demon lords that are bad, there's some heroes that are bad and heroes that are good, and they're all kind of like clashing with each other, right? It's like a weird like hero, like it's like a fantasy multiverse story, and it's actually kind of cool. Um like it I wasn't sure where it was going at first, but now that it's gotten moving, like it's like there's a lot of cool characters from different multiverses. One of the coolest characters is like a demon lord idol girl, where but being an idol in her world is basically like idol performances are basically wrestling matches in her world. So basically, one of the main characters in Mama Yu is like Demon Lord Maki Ito, and she's great. She's fantastic. Um, the one thing is that the one thing that a lot of people are complaining about is that the adoptive mom of the main character is a very minor character already. She's shown up in less than half the chapters, and half of those chapters that she's shown up in are essentially cameos. She's not important to the story at all right now. Like her having raised Corleo is basically just like backstory and almost an afterthought. And she's on the fucking cover. She's like that's her. She's right here. And the story barely cares about her. But that strangeness aside, I wasn't sure I would like this much, and I have found myself newly invested. So, so that's definitely janky but enjoyable. Um, yeah, I'll put it there. We'll put it there. I see promise in it, and I'm enjoying myself. All right, up next, if you're even like kind of if you're even investing yourself like in manga, if you're even kind of like in the manga community in passing, you've probably seen the memes already. um, this is Kagura Bachi. Uh, Kagura Bachi is another manga that involves like hitmen and mafia and stuff. Um, basically, the main character is the son of a man who crafted six magical swords. Uh, this is a world that has sorcery, and this man has welded sorcery into these six swords, these six very special swords. Um, and at the beginning of the story, the dad gets killed, and his swords are stolen, and his son, a few years later, is walking around with the secret seventh magical sword, uh, trying to find the six stolen swords to retrieve them and make sure that they don't end up in the wrong hands. Um, yeah, if you've seen a meme of like a dude like giving like an edgy look at the camera like while like unsheathing a sword, right? If you've seen if you've seen that meme of like Banjo unsheathing Kazooie in that way, or like other stuff. That's where this is from. This is Kagurabachi. Yeah, this series just got memed on for like a full month. Like everyone just pretending like that this was already like the new big hit. Uh they got Alex Lee to voice act a fan animation of of uh of this series, and it's died down, like the meme has died down, but like this story is actually genuinely good. Like it's actually a really well crafted like fantasy battle thriller. It's dope. Like modern fantasy, right? Um like like magical realism. Like it's cool. It's actually cool. I actually like it. This is the good shit. This is the good shit, and I'm gonna put it here. I'm gonna put it here right now. Like I think it actually has the potential to genuinely be a great series, and I've been enjoying it so far. Yeah, I'm invested. I'm invested for real. Okay, just a couple series left. And then I'll have reviewed all of 2023. Two, all right, up next is Two on Ice. Two on Ice is um it's another sports romance thing. Blue Box has been doing very well, and I think that's why this exists. Um, it's a figure skating manga. It's uh I've seen people call it Straight on Ice instead of Yuri on Ice. Because yeah, it's basically like, uh it's about a guy who when he was very young saw a girl his age be really good at figure skating, and then he's obsessed over this girl for like the last 10 years, but she disappeared from the figure skating world. Then he finds her, and she's basically like, hey, I'm not doing single figure skating anymore, but if you want to see me skate so bad, why don't you and I form a pair? And it's about them doing pairs figure skating together. Um, and um, I it's there's charm to it, right? I think the characters are well written. Um, like I think the characters are interesting. They're charming. Like, uh, I think I think kind of the budding romance is nice to read. Um, but it's also very dense. Like it's just like they really dump a lot of figure skating jargon on you like really soon, really quick. And and there's a lot of telling instead of showing. And it does some cool things with the art, you know. It does some cool things with the art. I think some of the art's nice. Um, but ultimately, I think it's just a little better than All Right, and I don't think it's gonna last for very long. I think this is gonna get canceled. Like this just debuted, right? Mama Yu Yu Kagurabachi, Two on Ice. They're like less than 3 months old, I think. Um, and I think Two on Ice is probably not gonna last another 3 months. I think it's gonna be on its way out pretty soon. And it's not even Yuri on Ice. It's not even Two on Ice's fault, right? It's not even that bad. But I just don't think that the audience is going to be there. Um, yeah, I don't think teenagers in Japan are gonna give a shit about this story. So it's hard to stay invested in it, partially for that reason. And then the last one, here we are, last one is a series that actually just debuted last week. It just debuted last Sunday. There's only one chapter of it so far, although I'm going to be reading the second chapter of it tomorrow. Um, and it's called Green Green Greens. Green Green Greens. It's a golfing manga. Um, yeah, it's it's by Kento Terasaka. He did a canceled rugby manga called Beast Children a few years ago. Um, and if I were to have put Beast Children on this tier list, I would have ranked it janky but enjoyable, right? But most people thought it sucked, and people in Japan certainly thought it sucked. Uh, it you know yeah, it got unceremoniously axed after not too long of a run. Uh, and and Terasaka has done like one shot since then, and he keeps doing sports stuff. He seems really he seems really dedicated to the idea of making a good sports manga. Like he's done like an arm wrestling one shot, and like other shorts. I think like I think he I think maybe there was like a baseball one shot at one point. Um, Yo, what's up? What's up? I'm I'm talking about a Shonen Jump manga. Basically all the manga that they ran in the Shonen Jump magazine in 2023. I'm almost done with my tier list, and after that I'm probably gonna predict what I think they're gonna do in 2024. Um, but yeah, Green Green Greens is a new golf series from the Beast Children guy. Um, and the art style is very different. Beast Children's art style was a lot rougher, and I kind of miss that art style, honestly. This is a lot cleaner. Um, but that said, I kind of like it. I kind of like Green Green Greens. Like, I can only review it based off of the first chapter. I have one chapter to go off of, and it's funny because there's a lot of series in here where if I were only to base my opinion off of the first chapter of it, it'd be ranked a lot higher, right? Like Do Retry would be in the good shit if I was only ranking it based on the first chapter. Um, but Green Green Greens does have a good first chapter. Like basically it's about a boy who's really aimless in life. He kind of just fixates on other people being successes, right? Instead of how he can be a success himself. Um, he does a lot of like, oh yeah, like this athlete earns this much, like um and I don't know if you can see the girl behind him. Uh I like Yeah, that girl behind him there, she basically confronts him, and she's like, "Hey, you're pathetic. You've given up on making anything of yourself, and you're just focusing on what other people can do. I'm gonna be an amazing golfer. I'm gonna move to America and be a pro golfer. What are you gonna do with your life?" Um, and right now he's like, "I guess I will also try golfing." Um, and there's an implication uh that he's very good at like hitting a ball hard. Um, and hopefully this doesn't turn into a story of right like a man without talent suddenly having talent. Like I've read plenty of those shonen mangas. Um, so hopefully it doesn't become just that. But I think honestly there's a lot of potential. There's a lot of potential in Green Greens to be really good. I think one thing they could do is like oh yeah, he's good at hitting hard, but that's not always good in golf, right? So like him learning control could be a cool arc. There's a lot of directions this could go. And yeah, the two main characters are pretty likable and interesting so far. Um so uh so yeah, it was a good first chapter that got me interested and invested. Um we'll we'll put it here. Put it here. Just like I wouldn't call it janky per se, but I also hesitate to like I'm not gonna call it the good shit just based on one chapter. Not yet. I can't do that yet. But oh baby, that's nothing else made it to top tier, uh so yeah, One Piece's 2023 performance deserves a top tier placement. It's been really good. So there we go, man. That's my take on 2023 in Shonen Jump. I told you guys about a bunch of fucking manga. Yeah, Sakamoto Days, Akane Banashi, and One Piece are top tier. Sakamoto Days IMO is the best thing running in the magazine right now. It's phenomenal. It's incredible. And Akane Banashi is almost as good. Like, it's such a cool fucking manga that is so interesting and so like un it's so weird. Like it's not the kind of thing that usually runs in a shonen magazine. It's a fucking Rakugo manga. It's a fucking Rakugo drama, and it's great. Um, yeah. And then that puts Fabricant at the top of the good shit. It deserves it. It's a well built story, man. Then Black Clover, then Kagodabachi, then High School Family, then Tenmaku Cinema, then Blue Box. And janky but enjoyable. Janky but enjoyable is the biggest category. Uh, Martial Master Mas, blah, blah. Martial Master Asumi, Mama Yu Yu, Green Green Greens, P P P P P P, Witch Watch, Mashal, Jujutsu Kaisen, uh, Ginka Gluna, Ichigoki's Under Control, Ichinose, Icehead Gill, and Two on Ice. Then in It's Alright, we have Tokyo, Demon Bride Story, Do Retry, Mission Yozakura Family, specifically the four chapters of Hunter x Hunter published in publication year 2023. Not Hunter x Hunter overall, just its 2023 performance. It's publication year 2023 performance. And then Verge of Dropping is Cypher Academy, Elusive Samurai, Kill Blue, Niue's Exorcist. Will I drop all of these by this time next year? Uh, Maybe not. Will I even drop one of them? I hope so. I hope so. But once I get into the habit of reading something, like, sometimes something horrendous has to happen for me to like, for me to remove it from my routine because it's already in my routine. Um but if some like, I also just like my threshold for dumb manga bullshit definitely has like a breaking point. So yeah, I could see myself dropping these if it reaches that. And then finally, the not reading parentheses, it's trash is Undead Unluck and Roboco. All five Roboco stands are seething right now. I know, man. I'm I'm uh I'm so bold. I'm so edgy. It's cool that there aren't a lot of straight up bad things being published. Yeah. Um yeah, like, look at like My Hero Academia I haven't caught up on yet, but like I'm reading, well, a lot of these are canceled, but yeah, I'm reading like 17 or 18 series in the magazine right now, like every week, right? Like um like yeah, I'm reading 16 series. It's about to be a 17th with the next manga that's being published. Um and yeah, there's only two right now that I'm refusing to read, although there's four of them that I might be refusing to read, but that's still like over half of the series being published, or at least all right. They're at least all right. Most of them are kind of good or better. Um yeah. Shonen Jump has a reputation for like being very cutthroat, for like, for cutting things really quickly and for not giving things a very long chance to kind of find their footing. But honestly, I feel like that strategy has its benefits, you know, like if something kind of sucks, then it's not going to overstay its welcome. And a lot of the stuff that sticks around, with some exceptions, does end up being at least kind of good. Like they definitely have like a kind of a pedigree for a reason. You know, they have a reputation for being cutthroat, but they also have a reputation for having most of the most popular manga series in the world. Um, did you know that this is one of the first years ever um since Japan started tracking the best selling manga of the year in the way that they have been lately, in the way that they have been in the past 20 years. Um, Blue Lock was the best selling manga this year. And that was the first time since they started tracking manga sales that way that Kodansha won it, right? Because almost every other time Shueisha, like a Shonen Jump manga, won it instead. Usually One Piece, but sometimes Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen, right? Um, yeah, uh, yeah. They have a pedigree. They have the reputations that they have for a reason, I guess. Um, yeah. Let me on I'll oops. Where am I? I'm here. Um, yeah, let me save this. Download this image. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that's 2023. I also wanted to predict what I think Shonen Jump will do in 2024. I was gonna I was gonna do like a big uh like a really thorough um like a really thorough like categorized gauntlet of predictions. But I've got half an hour left on this stream, so maybe I'll maybe I'll be a bit less thorough. But give me a sec here. Um, okay. Okay. Um, oops. Okay. Just yeah, just double checking there's no like There's no there's no sensitive information that was in that. Um, okay, so let's okay. So let's let's talk hmm let's do some 2024 predictions. Instead of veterans first, let's do conclusions first. What just happened there? Um, so what are some manga that I think will end? Let's talk about some big ones. Okay, I think My Hero Academia is gonna end in the first quarter of the calendar year. I think it's gonna end by the end of March. Um, they've been doing the final battle for a while. Um, and yeah, I think it's gonna wrap up, even if it's only wrapping up like 10 pages at a time. Horikoshi is definitely very tired. I think Jujutsu Kaisen will conclude sometime next year. Um, um, I don't think One Piece will end. I don't think, um, I think a lot of these are safe, honestly. Da, 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 da. Yeah, I don't think Martial Master Asami is going to last that long, unfortunately. Probably It'll probably go away in the first half of the year. Two on Ice, early 2024. Um, I think I think Mama Yu Yu will probably get to be around for a bit, but I don't think it'll survive through the end of next year. So that's yeah, that's five conclusions I think will happen. But yeah, that means I do think. Oh, you know what? I also think Green Green Greens isn't going to last that long, just because sports is struggling, man. Sports is struggling. Um, but I do think Kagurabashi will survive. Um, maybe continuations. Kagurabachi survives through the end of the year. Um, I think Sakamoto Days and Witch Watch will get anime announcements by the end of this year. Which watch? Yeah, which watch? Um, Plus, MHA started in 2014, and we don't get 15-year plus series anymore. That era's over. Anything that's long now started in the 80s or 90s. You know, I think that's I think that's kind of true, right? Um, 15 plus year series, you're totally right. But, we will get series that kind of like push a decade and that kind of thing. Yeah, I think a lot of it is just like Shonen Jump is listening to manga creators more now, and listening to manga creators, and they're like, "Hey, I'm tired. I can't keep doing this every week. I need to stop." And then they're like, "Okay, you want to take a couple years off, and then you'll come back with another series? Yeah, fine." Um, yeah, the last like modern long series was Gintama, which ran from 2003 to 2019. Yeah, that's a big boy. Keep I'm yeah, I'll talk about Gintama in a second, in a little bit actually. Uh, just looking over these series. Yeah, like anyways, Exorcist is gonna survive whether I want it to or not. Kill Blue will be kind of a hit. Um, okay, yeah, I'm done. I'm done thinking about that part. So let's talk um about new series. So there's there's three different kinds of ways that new series will debut, right? You got you got series from returning veterans, right? Like manga creators that made a success in the past, and now they're back with a new series, right? Um, like like Tagashi did Yu Yu Hakusho, and then he came back with Hunter x Hunter, right? And actually, this past year, 2023, had three veterans show up, right? The Food Wars guys showed up with Tenmaku Cinema. Um, the Kuroko's basketball guys showed up with Kill Blue. Uh, and Kawada, the Hinamara Sumo guys, showed up with Martial Master Asami. Now it's funny that like only one of those looks like it's going to be a success, but uh, yeah, the point is that Shonen Jump will regularly bring back um like kind of successes to see if they can strike gold twice, right? It doesn't happen very often, uh, but they keep trying. Infamously, they brought back the creator of Naruto with Samurai 8, and that sold like ass. Um, but yeah, um let's talk about uh some previous successes that haven't been in the magazine for a bit, because generally when someone stops making a manga, They're generally out of the magazine for at least like sometimes only like 2 years, but when it's a veteran, especially, they're you won't see him again for like another 3 or 4 years, right? Like Food Wars ended in like 2020, I think, and they came back 3 years later, 2023, right? So here's some mangaka that um have been out of the public eye for a bit that I think could come back. Let's talk about some big ones first. Kyoharu, I'm sorry if I uh fuck up the spelling on these because I'm kind of spelling it from memory. Kyoharu Gotoge. Um, the creator of Demon Slayer. They finished Demon Slayer in 2019, right? That story's been done for 4 years. And I think it's inevitable that that their next series is going to pop up in the magazine at some point. However, I think they won't be back until 2025 at the earliest. Um, I think one reason for that, there was an interview like a couple of years ago where like an editor at Shonen Jump was being interviewed, and they were like, oh yeah, so like when's the next series from Kyohara Gotoge coming out? And the editor was like, we haven't even gotten a pitch from them yet. We haven't even gotten a pitch for their next series yet. So there's that. I do think that in the time that passed, they could have gotten the pitch by now. But I think also the fact that that Demon Slayer is still running right now. The Demon Slayer anime is still happening. I think Shueisha will probably want to avoid they'll probably want to avoid the repeating any mistakes that they made with Samurai 8, right? Um they were like, "Hey, the creator of Naruto is back. Uh and we're circulating 100,000 copies before anyone's even bought shit. This will go great." And no one bought it. About a tenth, like 10,000 people bought it. It was very embarrassing for Shueisha. And I think one of the things they must have realized is that like people didn't really miss Kishimoto yet because Boruto was running. We were still getting Naruto content. We weren't starved for more Kishimoto stuff. So like I think they'll realize that like not a lot of people are waiting for Gotoge's next work yet, and they probably won't be until Demon Slayer is done. I'm waiting for Gotoge's next work, but I'm not the standard demographic. I'm not your dad's manga enjoyer. Um um Similarly, Haruichi Furudate. Yeah, really sorry if I'm fucking these up spelling wise. Um the creator of Haikyuu. Um Similarly, like Haikyuu's still um Haikyuu's having some major things happening next year. Um it's getting one or two anime movies, right? Um I don't know if they're both coming out next year, but one of them is coming out either this month or early 2024. Battle at the Garbage Dump. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for that movie. It better come out in the States like soon. Uh but yeah, I think to not take away the limelight from Haikyuu, Furudate won't make any new series until both those movies are out. But then after those movies are out, I think we'll see Furudate in the magazine again. Um, so in 2025, I think will be Furudate's debut year. Like will be Furudate's return year, and it won't be sports. It'll be something weird. It'll be something new, like how like I've noticed that a lot of the time when a veteran returns with a new series, um if their series is like really similar, if their new series is really similar to their old hit, it tends to not take off, right? Um like yeah, Kishimoto made another series with a little plucky ninja boy and no one cared, right? Um However, when Akira Toriyama stopped making his gag manga Dr. Slump and made like a battle action manga, Dragon Ball instead. Although to be fair, like it started out a lot more comedic than it ended up being. Um, but yeah, like your your series had to be different. um, Kuroko's basketball guy, right? His next series was a golf manga, another sports manga. Didn't really take off. His next series is something. His current series, Kill Blue, is completely different than sports. It's a fucking hitman school life battle manga thing, and that's doing well. That's doing well right now. Um, so yeah, so I think these two are gonna show up at some point, but not yet. So let's talk about who I will think will show up in 2024. Uh, I should really just try to pull up fucking resource here. Uh, Shiro Uzasaki? Uzasaki. Usazaki. Shiro Uzazaki, the artist of Act Age. Um, there is a series called Act Age. Um, it was basically kind of like a sports manga about acting, right? Um, and people really liked it. I only ever read the first chapter before the writer of Act Age got into a scandal. Yeah, he was doing predatory stuff to minors, and he got arrested, and Act Age got canceled, rightfully canceled, and wiped off the map immediately. However, um, the artist of Act Age, who did nothing wrong, and in fact apparently didn't even like the writer, um, was kind of left out of a job, and Shonen Jump said that they promised that they would find Usazaki like work, that they would make sure Usazaki was supported and would transition into a new series or a new role. It's been like 3 or 4 years since then. Usazaki still does not have a new series, although she has done a couple one shots. One as recently as this year. It was kind of an alternate reality game, right? It was published in the Shonen Jump magazine, and you had to like flip to other pages to like find out the mystery or something. It was impossible uh to publish digitally, so we didn't get a translation of it. Um, but yeah, I think Usasaki will get a new series next year, 2024. Um, I don't know who her writer is going to be because I think she is going to get attached to a writer. So why don't I just guess that um the writer will be the writer of The Promised Neverland, because the artist of The Promised Neverland is busy doing a Beyblade spin-off right now. So that's my guess there. Um so let's see. Yeah, that's two. So it's two artists that I don't think will debut in 2024. I should come up with two more that I think will debut in 2024 with a new series when they were a success before. I'm probably gonna go a little past 11 here. Um, oh yeah. Um, Here's one. This is kind of a long shot, but I'm gonna guess it. I'm gonna guess it. Um, uh, no. Yes. Hideaki Sarachi, the Gintama guy. Gintama ended in 2019. Um, and and Sarachi hasn't been up to much lately. Um, right? Like not outwardly. We haven't seen what Sarachi's been up to. Um, so I think he'll, he's not even that old, right? He's in his 40s right now. There's people drawing stuff for Shonen Jump that are in their 50s right now, right? So I think Srirachi will come back next year. I have no idea what he'll do really. I have no idea what he'll come up with, but I think it could end up being like a shorter series, like something that's meant to not be very long. Um, and honestly, I think maybe even if it is meant to be long, it might not last very long. I have a gut feeling that, everyone will be like, "Oh, the Gintama guy's back," and then he makes something that doesn't really resonate with Japanese audiences. um, yeah, that's my guess. Um, one more. Um, I had something. I really should have written some of this down in advance. Um, because the Food Wars guys came back. Um, Sumo guy came back. Oh right. Now this is predictions. This isn't wish lists. This isn't what I want. This is what I think will happen. So unfortunately, I do think that we will see the return of Tadahiro Miura. Um, who made a very fan servicey, who made an ecchi manga basically, called Yuna and the Haunted Hot Springs. This author has been doing one shots for Jump lately. Um, and yeah, I think that unfortunately they'll be back. They'll be back very soon. It'll probably also be fan servicey. I'm not gonna like it, but I think they'll return. Um, okay. So let's talk about other returning authors. Um, a few authors that I think um will come back. And trying to see if I Like I want to make this a bit more interesting visually, right? Like I feel like I should have some like supplemental images up. Um, plus if you're reading along, if you're watching along, just look up what I'm typing because I don't know how to show you the images in a way that's not going to be really clunky. Uh, like hold on, you guys deserve better than that. Give me a sec here. You guys deserve better than that. Okay. And I'll also like not do too many of these. Uh yeah, but one person I think will be returning like almost for sure is Kentaro Fukuda. And these are all people I think will return in 2024. Kentaro Fukuda wrote a manga in 2019 called Double Taisei. And yeah, Double Taisei. There we go. Double Taisei was this manga. Um, it was a shogi manga, right? And it started out very dramatic and serious, like basically like it's basically like a a shogi prodigy ate his twin in utero and uh now they like now he has like a split personality. Like in the daytime he's the shogi prodigy, at nighttime he's his twin, right? Like their personalities alternate. um and uh and like they both love shogi, and they do this thing where like there's a shogi board in their room, and the prodigy will make a move in the daytime, and then at nighttime his brother in his body will make the move from the opposite side of the table, right? Really really fucking wild shogi like drama. But then well, sometimes like I'm just describing a manga plot to you, and like I have to like reconsider the things that have come out my mouth while I'm explaining it, you know. Um but yeah, the thing with Double Taisei is that like over the course of the manga it was clear that a uh the the drama wasn't really resonating with the audience, and B, the author didn't like shogi enough to make interesting stories about the shogi. So it just evolved into like this comedic, like it just evolved into like a weird like comedy with shogi as almost like a background setting. Um, it got really wacky and really weird and really strange. It's such a funky, dumb manga that I'm kind of fascinated by. And I think this guy's going to be back, and I think he's going to be back with something that's more deliberately comedic, um, or also maybe something with horror elements, because he made a one shot a little while back about a girl that has Tetris powers, and she was using it to dispose of bodies. Like she was stacking bodies together, um, and then when she made like a complete block of bodies, the bodies would just like disappear, and it was really creepy and really like unsettling. Um, Again, I now have to contemplate the things I just said. Um, but but yeah, this Kentaro Fukuda. Remember that name. this person's gonna be back in 2024 with a weird ass manga. Will it last? I don't know. I kind of hope it does. I'm kind of rooting for Kentaro Fukuda. Uh, Another returning person I think will be here is Yuki Kawaguchi, the writer of Red Hood. Yuki Kawaguchi has been just churning out um uh churning out one shots lately. Just yeah, new series after new series, new one shot after new one shot. Um oh shit. I was hoping that like it's like, "Oh, I have an image ready, right? I don't need to frantically find something. I don't think I have an image ready." Damn. Daniel be slacking. Um it's okay. I got you guys. I got you guys. Um but yeah, Yuki Kawaguchi debuted with a series called Red Hood. And and it was like kind of this fantasy action manga that like got canceled, and then it had like a really trippy like meta ending. But it was basically kind of um like Red Riding Hood is a big mommy, and the woodsman is a little boy, and they team up to fight wolves and other fantasy creatures. Like, it was cool. It was pretty cool. I think Kawaguchi is destined to make one of Shonen Jump's next big hits. I don't know if they're gonna do it uh like with their next series or the series after, but I do think that Kawaguchi deserves to have an eye kept on them. Um and I think they'll be putting out something pretty cool. Um yeah, and honestly, like, yeah, it's 11 now. I had a bunch of like amateur manga artists in mind, but like like I had like a whole rookie section in my head, but it would take me too long to like compile like their names and also like images of stuff they've worked on, which I would feel bad if I didn't provide those. Um but just know that I think there'll be a lot of cool creators to come. I think this will be a cool year. Why don't I just like predict like, okay, specific manga. What's what are some manga that I just think will exist at some point in the magazine next year? Um at least three more Hitman, Assassin, Mafia related manga. Oh, um here's my last returning guess. No. Yes? No. No. I think that the guy that did Doron Dororon will be back at some point, and I think he might be back with with a Hitman manga. And I'm worried that when he comes back, it'll be too late and Hitman manga won't be big anymore. um, you wonder if the Guardian of the Witch guy is going to get another shot soon. Oh, so I have some news that is either good or bad. Depending on how you feel about it. The Guardian of the Witch guy has started a new series in another magazine. He's not in Shonen Jump anymore. Or they're not in Shonen Jump anymore. Crap, what was their name? Um, I liked Guardian of the Witch, by the way. It's cool that you brought that up because I liked Guardian of the Witch. I really liked the Asahi Sakano. That was their name. Uh, I really liked the kind of um like the kind of Attack on Titan aesthetic, but with Soul Eater power sets thing. That was fun. That was cool, you know? Uh but yeah, they how are they? Um um I could have sworn that it was them that made the yeah. Um yeah. Okay, hold on. I think I can pull it up real quick. Yeah, Asahi Sakano launched a new manga this year called Juo to Yakuso, Beast King and Medicinal Herb. Um, yeah, it's another fantasy manga. Um, and yeah, with the lion person and the magic girl. Um, uh, yep, yep. They've already been working on a new series. It's been out for about half a year now, and it's popular. Like it's doing pretty well. Um, yeah, like it seems that Japan likes it. And I forget who's I think maybe Kodansha's publishing them, which means that chances are pretty good that we'll see it in America at some point if I'm right about that. Um but yeah, Guardian of the Witch guy did get another shot. It just isn't with Shonen Jump. And that also means we're not going to see them in Shonen Jump for a while. Um Neat. Glad they found something after Guardian. Yeah, me too, right? I'm glad. I'm glad they found more work. Okay, specific manga. What kind of shit do I think will show up? Um um a battle manga that involves video games or gamers. like like I'm thinking like the power sets like involve like video game logic somehow, you know? Uh and one more idea. I'm not saying whether or not these succeed. Skateboarding sports manga. Ooh, um, uh, sports manga about competing in Japanese variety shows. Like someone who does that for a living. Because like right now, like some of the popular manga you've got in Japan, right? The Akane Banashi is this Rakugo manga that I love, right? Another really great manga that's happening in Japan right now. It's called Shoha Shoten, and it's a manzai comedy like sports manga. You know, it's like about like duos of stand up comedians like doing stand up comedy together. Um, there's a manga about that right now, and I love it. It's so good. Um, so I think maybe in Shonen Jump we'll see another manga about like performing, right? Uh about like interacting with like doing something in the media, doing some kind of performance or something in a way that you can also compete. Yeah, that's my guess. So so yeah, my I think there'll be a manga about someone that keeps entering variety shows to achieve some goal or another. Maybe it's not even like a completely grounded manga, you know? Maybe it's like kind of like a fantasy or sci-fi thing where the variety shows are like fantastical and like strange. Maybe that's Kentaro Fukuda's next series. The closest you can think of something like a video game themed battle manga is the King of Fighters Iori Isekai. They do the motions to do special moves, which is fun, lol. Oh, that's great. Um there's one manga I really like called Young Ladies Don't Play Fighting Games, right? It's not like you can't really call it a battle manga. You could maybe call it like a sports manga. Um but it's more of a girl's love, which is basically about these girls that attend like a prestigious all girls school where like everyone's prim and proper. You're not allowed to play video games in the school. Um, but there's a couple girls there that are really into competitive fighting games. Um, and like they bond over their competition with each other, right? Um, and and you get to see the fighting game get played a lot, and like all the like it's filled with like accurate fighting game community terminology, and you know like uh like yeah, you have these girl characters talking about okizeme and shit, like yeah. It's awesome. Young ladies don't play fighting games. It's both a great like girls love manga about these girls and their relationship with each other, and it's also like a great like manga about people playing fighting games. Like there's a whole arc where they go to a fighting game tournament. It's so good. It's so good, but that's not like a battle manga, you know. Um that that King of Fighters Isekai manga sounds fun. I might have to look into that one. Um okay. Well, I guess 3. I did what I said I would. Um yeah. Okay. Yeah, 2024 predictions. Didn't make as many as I wanted to when I started the stream, but I did end up going a little long. Um, so so yeah, I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied with the amount that I made. Like, I think I made some decent ones. It'll be fun to revisit these at the end of 2024 in December 2024 if I'm still streaming regularly at that time. Yeah, I love manga, man. Manga's cool. And Shonen Jump is always very interesting to me. Um, oh yeah. I guess the last thing I should do is maybe show you guys um that that cat is from Red Cat Ramen, one of my favorite manga that's currently running. Shit. Oh, there. That's what I want to look at. Damn it. Um, hold on. If I just oh my god. Ah, just want you guys to see it. There we go. This is Shadow Eliminators. This is the series that's debuting on Sunday. It's like about a boy that like fights shadows but can also control shadows. It's gonna be an exorcism manga. Basically. Yeah, I read this is based off of a one shot. I read the one shot. The one shot's not bad, so I'm hoping this is good. Um, I'm guessing it's not going to last very long. I'm guessing it's not going to usurp Nue's Exorcist, and it's gonna get like, it's gonna get dropped in like 18 to 25 chapters. Um, but yeah, it looks cool. I like the art. Um, and yeah. All right. That was me talking about manga for a while. Hours. Like 4 hours. Fun stream. Thank you. You made it fun. Thanks for hanging out. I sold you on Fabricant 100. It sounds really cool. And also do retry to see the cartoony shenanigans. Do retry is absolutely like a so bad it's good manga to read. It's so like some of the shit that happens is so dumb. Like there is yeah, you know what? Just read it. There's like just such ridiculous shit that happens. Like not just like the things, but also like some of the dialogue just like cracked me the fuck up, man. And I'm glad you're interested in Fabricant 100. I do think that it starts to drag a little in the middle, but it picks back up. It picks back up, I think. Um, and there's just some like excellent like self-contained arcs within the whole thing. I really dig it. Yeah, if you do check it out, feel free to drop by during any of my streams and just be like, hey, I read Fabricant 100. Here's what I think. Hey, I read Do Retry. Why'd you make me do this? um, yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for dropping in and hanging out. Um, yeah, Monday. I'll be uh I'll be doing I'll be back to Star Ocean First Departure R, continue my full playthrough of that. Hopefully I'm gonna bust through where I'm stuck on that game, and hopefully I'm close to beating it. I don't know, man. But but yeah, I don't want to drop the things where I said I commit to a full playthrough. I'm trying not to, so I'll keep playing it even though I don't know how many people are still interested. And then Friday and Saturday I will do streams of some sort. I'm not sure which streams yet. Um Like maybe Street Fighter on Saturday. I'm really bummed about the pricing on the new costumes. The new costumes are great, and then they got real shady with the way they priced it. Um, Bums me out. I was ready to buy the new Kimberly costume, like no questions asked, and the pricing is so predatory that like I feel like I can't now. I can't encourage that behavior. So uh so yeah, but anyway, yeah, I might stream Street Fighter on Saturday, and then Friday I'll probably stream like a game that came out in 2023 that I need to catch up on. Um or like late 2022. Um like like I still need to play Sea of Stars, I still need to play Chained Echoes, but I've also been playing a lot of fucking RPGs on the stream lately. So I might look through my backlog and see if there's any like anything that came out this year that's a good game that I need to play that also isn't an RPG. So yeah, I'll keep you guys updated. As always, like, um I always update the schedule the week that I stream. So I'll try to do that within the next couple days. And that way you guys can check the schedule to see what I'm doing next. Um yeah, this was a fun stream. Thanks everyone for dropping by and offering commentary and listening to me just talk about like 30 to 40 different manga and anime. You guys are great. You guys are fantastic. Um, all right. Yeah, that's it for me tonight. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.